Call the regular meeting of the Ames Conference Board to order. Welcome, everybody. And we have a new board member. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Art Baumgartner with Ames School Board.
Thank you. All right, we'll do a roll call. Deputy will go through the list by unit. And Josh Bennett, is he online or not?
No.
Okay, all right. Deputy?
Ames City Council,
Present.
Story County Board of Supervisors,
Here.
Ames School District,
Here.
Gilbert School District, United School District, Nevada School District.
Okay, so Art, you get to have a free pass tonight. You can sit here and listen, but
Take it all in.
take it all in. But each unit has a vote. There must be a motion and a second from two different units. So tonight, council can make one, and then, or supervisors can, and then we can second it, and then we vote as a unit. So if we do have someone show up from one of the other school districts, then we can go ahead and loop you in also, Art.
Sounds good.
All right, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the March 11th, 2025 meeting? Are there any amendments to the minutes? I would just note and mention to Sherry that I was present at the meeting but not listed. So if that could be added to the minutes. Any other changes?
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
can I ask a question?
certainly.
I don't see it on the agenda list, but you usually have to approve the agenda first. Remember, is that what you usually do?
We normally don't at
Okay.
council, but Sherry, you have a comment on that? I don't think we have in the past.
I've never had it on the agenda before.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine, I just couldn't remember.
I can
So-
certainly, I can just add it if you wish.
Sure.
No,
Okay.
that's fine, I just want to make sure we weren't missing a step.
Yep, thank you for asking. All right, is there a motion approving the minutes of the March 11th, 2025 meeting as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, move on to the annual report from Sherry Plaguey, our city assessor. She's got a PowerPoint presentation, and you're going to include 2027 project and appeals.
Okay. Can
Maybe
everybody
you can
hear me?
introduce your sidekick there.
Absolutely. Can everybody hear me? Okay, perfect. So I am Sherry Plaguey. I am the Ames City Assessor, and this is my deputy, Kenny Baker. And we are going to present our annual report and budget proposal to you tonight. Okay. Okay, so assessor's duties are prescribed in the Iowa Code, and some of those things that we do are, of course, classify and value all the property within our jurisdiction. We do go out and discover changes that may not be on the records from the permits that we receive. We accept and recommend allowances on 48 different credits and exemption types. We provide the board review with information on protests and assist with PAB appeals. And we provide information to the public, requests, information about how to appeal various amounts of data that we give to the public. And then, of course, we are to provide fair and equitable assessments as the basis for funding local governments. What we do not do is we do not calculate or collect taxes. We do not determine the tax rates or the levies. We do not set the market value or purchase prices of homes that people purchase. And we do not determine the laws or rules that we must go by. So some of the highlights that happened this year, of course, I just introduced Kenny. He was appointed in May of 2025 as my deputy. He has also, since being appointed, received his ICA designation. And Kenny has also taken most of the classes to sit for the RES exam. The ICA is the Iowa Certified Assessor's designation. That does, probably about 4 weeks worth of different classes, and then at least 3 exams that go into the ICA designation. The RES designation is an IAAO, or International Association of Assessing Officers designation, and that RES is Residential Evaluation Specialist. And so he will be obtaining that whenever he gets those classes and case study things done too. Some of the other stuff that we have done, I will be fully staffed as of next week, which will be the first time since I've been here, and I'm very excited about that. I do have some public outreach events that we have done. I don't know if within the packet I did give you those links. They are also on our website to the 4 different videos that we have produced about assessments. And we've also done a couple of speaking engagements, and I'm also set to do one in April at the 60 Forward Center. Our reappraisal review, we have over 50% completed. We do have 5 data collectors and appraisers that are out there reviewing the properties, and it is due to be complete for the 2027 assessments. This is also an equalization year, so that will go nicely together, getting everything done at one time. And of course, we're preparing for the 2027 equalization year. One thing that does happen is the Department of Revenue not only reviews our sales, they do commercial appraisals. So we have done that parcel selection already. We give them a list and they say we want number 12 on the list, number 47 on the list, and so forth. And then we look through there and make sure that they're something that is not a dual class property or an exempt property, so that they don't get those types of properties. So over the next couple of years, we are going to, of course, review those remaining properties and update all of our assessments for the January 1, 2027 assessment. Also, I am going to put my application in to obtain the IAAO Certification of Excellence in Assessment Administration. It's CEAA designation. If we get this accomplished, we will be the second in Iowa to obtain it. We are also going to finalize our procedures for our manual for the pricing and data collection guidelines and create the productivity outcomes so that we have some data to go into our CEAA application. And we are going to start an audit of all exempt properties. So we're going to make sure that they are still being used as exempt properties and under the guidelines that are within the code. Our office plan for the next 3 to 5 years, creating a strategic plan. So our inter-office processes will be reviewed again, and we will finalize the procedures for the regular reviews to be done every 4 to 6 years. The 4 to 6 year rotation will include all the parcels on an ongoing basis, and we are going to do this so that we are not in the situation where we have to possibly hire an outside company of some sort to come in and do a appraisal project for us. We're going to be able to keep that data up to date. The Iowa manual also does recommend that we visit every property every 4 to 6 years, and that is also an IAAO standard as well. Another thing that we are going to do is create a succession plan to ensure that our office has continuity and stability. The staff will have some education. We've already got some of that accomplished, of course. As you know, Kenny was a data collector when he started, and now he's the deputy. So he has taken that education and gotten through all of the necessary things that need to be done in order to get that. And other staff is also going to be doing those same things and getting some education so that they can become more of leadership roles within the office. We're going to get some new reports out for the website, GIS maps. Maybe we can get something in there that is more interactive, possibly a Power BI dashboard, so that this would be used internally at first for real-time reports, charts and graphs, so that we can kind of see where we're at as far as when we do the 4 to 6 year rotation, how many we have done, how many are left, and so forth. It'll also help keep the data understandable to the public. I don't know if you've ever worked with Power BI dashboards, but they're very interactive and you can get really nice information from them in a short amount of time. Eventually that will be public facing. That's what our goal is. And that is also part of the technology updates that we are intending to do. And of course, reviewing all of our vendor contracts to make sure that they are up to date. And any AI uses that may come along. There are some things out there that are AI based, such as detecting properties that may have had a change. There's already something called Change Finder, but this goes in a little deeper than just making a building there or not. So there's some really cool things I think that are going to be coming out from some of these vendors so that we can maybe get more properties done in a shorter amount of time. So our 2025 abstract, this is our 100% assessment as of July 1st of last year. So this would have been after the board of review was done. This does not include anything that has happened since that has been decided with PAB or district courts. As you can see, we had some significant changes on a couple of these. Our industrial, of course, went up quite a bit. This was due to the fact that we had not, since I had gotten here, had not done the industrial properties. They are not equalized, so they were not as high on the list as the other ones were. But we did see that for a number of years before I got here, for whatever reason, they had not been reviewed. So some of them had not been reviewed for up to 10 years. So there's some significant changes in those industrial properties that we saw. Commercial properties also did increase about a little over 12%. And most of this is just simply due to market conditions. What people are paying for properties has increased significantly in some cases. And so we also have to match what the market is doing and get to that 100% assessment level. The next one is the taxable values, and this is the information that is used to levy against. So the information within these reports is processed by the auditor and then sent to the Department of Management, who oversees everybody's budgets and make sure that everybody follows the guidelines within their budget, within their timeline to get it published and so forth. And it's also one place where everybody can go to see everybody's budgets in the state. Housing price trends, they have been slowly and steadily increasing. We have not seen them come down. And as you can see, the trend for Iowa, which is the blue line, the lower one, it is just steadily increasing, where Iowa itself, the U.S. itself did have that dip back in about 2008 or so for a few years, and then it started climbing back up. Iowa did not see as much of a recession that the rest of the country did. This next one is a breakdown of how many parcels we have. We have had quite a few of the condos. The regimes were removed, so we had some condos that were reduced back down to a single apartment building. That does help us and the taxpayer quite a bit because it saves on, of course, them getting 120 tax statements instead of just one. It helps with appeals, and it helps with just making sure that those rental properties are treated as rentals and not like a owner occupied would that's a regular condo. And the next one, these are the sales that we've had in the past few years. And as you can see, the blue line is the total number of transfers that we have had throughout the years. And the orange-ish line, that one is the actual good normal sales that we use to set value for other properties. So there is, quite a significant amount of sales that we have, but not everything, of course, is a good sale.
What's the difference?
So if you have a property that is sold to a family member, that is considered an abnormal sale.
Mm.
And we have those codes from the Department of Revenue. They're in the Iowa code as well. Family sales are one. Anything that would be a tenant that is purchasing the property from the landlord, those are not good sales because you could have they could have maybe made concessions or something because of how long they had rented the property prior.
I see.
There's, I don't know, probably 30 different ones now.
Huh.
We used to have a lot more. Estate sale is another one. Auction sales are another one. So they have to be a normal arm's length transaction.
I see. Thank you.
And then the residential median, we want this to be at 100. And that is our goal. We are just a little bit under that. And every 2 years is why we have that equalization cycle where the Department of Revenue looks at our sales to see if we are within that median range. They do like to see it at 100, but we do have between 95 and 100 that we need to be within in order to not receive an equalization order. And so the orange line are the number of normal sales that we actually had. And then the blue line is where the median was as of the date of the sale. So this does not show after we have made any adjustments to value because of market. This is actually the sale on the sale date, what the value was as of the sale date. So our sales, sometimes they do dip a little bit when you're in those even years, but we make adjustments in the odd years and hopefully we can keep that above 95. And then for 2025, we had 267 informal reviews within the office, 441 Board of Review protests, which included 1,268 parcels total. We had a total of 33 cases that went either to PAB or district court after the Board of Review made their decision. 14 of those court cases and PAB cases have been determined already for the 2025 year. And we still have 22 that are still pending. So we are still waiting for the hearing dates and those decisions to be made. So if you look at attachment A, that is the list of all of what we have right now as far as appeals. And this does include everything that we had for 25, and there are 3 that were outstanding from 23. The 2023 cases were a district court case, and those were the 2 Walmarts and the Sam's Club here in Ames. That 2023 district court case, we did win. So my values were upheld for that year. They have those since appealed to the Supreme Court. That date has been put on hold because they were waiting for the Marshall County Supreme Court case to be completed as well, because Marshall County also won theirs. They appealed to Supreme Court. And so we are just waiting for our turn in Supreme Court. On the bottom of the pages, you will see that I have a total assessed value, the total value requested by the appellant or taxpayer, and then the value difference, and this is 100% value, and then the potential tax dollars lost. That is an estimate because, of course, I don't know what the levy rates are going to be for this upcoming year. So as it stands right now, if they were to win every case and my value was not upheld, we would be losing roughly $3 million across all entities. This includes the county, the city, the school boards, and all the way down to my office. And so far, we have spent about $90,000 just for appraisals, and that is on here on the very last part of it. And about $20,000 is what has been spent for those appraisers to come and testify. And most of this was Walmart. So, of course, we had those 14 appeal cases. We had 5 that were affirmed. So our values of $49 million were upheld. We had 1 modified. That was just a slight modification. It was about $12,000, I believe, that was reduced by. 6 were settled. So there was about roughly 12 million that between those cases that we started about 38. So about 13 million that was the difference on that one. And then I did have 2 withdraw. So they withdrew. So the value that I have between those 2 properties, $51 million, is the value. There's no more appeal on those. And because of that, the cost of the appraisal and testimony on those cases alone was $68,000. But we did retain an estimated $1 million, just over $1 million in tax dollars between the withdrawn cases, the affirmed cases, and all of those cases that you see, those 14 cases. And if you look at the list, that it does tell you which ones were already decided and who was affirmed, who was modified, who was settled, and who withdrew. Okay. And that is what I have for our annual report so far.
Any questions? Thank you, Sherry.
I have a few questions. Thinking about the exemptions, when did the change to the homestead and military exemptions start?
So there was a new one that started in 2023, which was the Homestead 65. And then they also increased the military 2 years ago as well.
And do we know how many individual requests we've had for those exemptions? I know we've got the dollar totals.
I can get that information. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I can certainly get that information. It's a few thousand.
And in thinking about the house sales, do we know what accounted for that high number of sales in 2021? And was that some sort of post-COVID relocation that people?
That happened a lot. Yeah. Yeah. People were buying and selling at that time. They were trying to get into bigger homes so that they could have their home office. The kids were home, so they needed more space. And if they did not get into a bigger home, a lot of them added on to their homes. So in that 2021 timeframe, you're going to see a lot of places did have a larger number of sales.
And one last question. I don't suppose there's any hope that if we win these Supreme Court cases, that the litigant will be responsible for our costs?
So there is something in the code that does say that.
Okay.
Yes. If they have met the burden of proof, but then we also have met the burden of proof, there is a code section that does discuss that. I would have to, of course, talk with Mark to see what needs to be done to do that. If it has to be requested or if it's just automatic. I am not sure on that, but yes, that is a possibility.
I recognize that the costs that we have incurred are nothing compared to how much Walmart has available to it in resources, but
Yeah.
it seems
They have
like,
2 attorneys just for the state of Iowa.
yeah. Just seems like something we should be getting money back for if we win the case. So
Yeah.
Other questions? All right. We'll move on to next item, board review members and appointment. As you all are probably aware, This board appoints members to the Board of Review, and the board hears appeals on assessments from taxpayers on grounds that are set out in the Code of Iowa. And the Board of Review should be made up of people who are familiar with today's real estate market, from occupations like real estate agents, brokers, loan officers, architects, or someone in construction or home builders. And if someone can't be found, a person who has working knowledge of real estate can also be appointed. It is important that the person has to live inside his Ames city limits, not just have an Ames mailing address. Can't be a member of the conference board, examining board, or assessor's office. And the Board of Review meets in the month of May, and it probably varies how often they meet, depending upon the year, right?
It does depend on the year and how many protests are received. Of course, the even years, there's usually a lot less appeals than there is in the odd years.
So we had a Board of Review member submit his resignation. I think that's effective at the end of this year. Is that correct? Or at end of the?
It was in the end of 25.
Okay, thank you. So is there a motion to accept the resignation from Park Woodle?
So moved, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Is there a second from City Council?
Second, Rollins.
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. So now we need to fill the vacancy for the 6-year term for Mr. Woodles, and that's going to run from January 1st of this year through December 31st of 2032. And Sherry let me know that she sent out emails to local realtors and builders to inform them of the Board of Review. There's been no applications received so far. And in years past, it seems like we have to kind of go out and try and find people. So if you have any thoughts tonight, we're all ears. If not, I would appreciate you letting me know, and I can contact, or Sherry can contact the individual. But then it's going to come back to the board for appointment. So any thoughts on this?
When you do talk to people, you can mention that this is a paid board position. So they do get paid for the time that they are in board meetings and trainings. So just, this is not a volunteer. It's a volunteer, but it's also paid.
So
Okay.
if you're looking for a realtor, I think she lives in Ames, would be, gosh, her last name, her first name.
What's your last name?
She was my realtor, Brenda Peterson. She lives Century 21. She may be interested.
If you would reach out to her, I personally do not feel that it's okay for me to contact people because, of course, I am trying to defend my values to them. So
Yeah, no,
I would be more than happy to give them information about it, but it's not something that I think that's appropriate that I go out and try and find somebody that's going to be deciding what my values are. So
So the point being is that if you're saying though, is that if Lisa reaches out to this
Yes.
person, gets them in contact with you, at that point, you can take it from there.
yeah, I can certainly give them information and make sure that they know they're aware of all of the ins and outs of the board.
The key is there's sometimes in May, it gets pretty busy.
Yes.
So they have to be aware of that. So also it could be a retired person. Park Woodle was retired. He moved to Ames. He had both a real estate background and he had farming background. Yeah, so he had multiple backgrounds that were really helpful for that position.
And what have we done so far to contact potential bodies of people?
Sherry's already said she sent out emails to realtors and builders, letting them know
But
the position is open.
But is that to individual realtors and builders, or did it go to the AHBA or, yeah?
Yeah, so I sent it out to, we actually, Kenny went to the Ames Alliance website and got the information from there to get a contact person. And when I sent the email out, I said, please give this out to all of your other associates so that we can get the word out that we're looking for somebody, that the board here is looking for somebody. So, and I have not had any response back. And I can send that out again also.
Well, maybe if you wanted to send to me what you sent out and who you sent it to, I can follow up and see if there's some other avenues, like Gloria's referring to the Ames Home Builders Association, the Realtors Group as well too. So. Okay. All right. All right. Move on to item number 5, discussion on city assessor's proposed budget for 26-27.
Okay. So I would like to start with the attachment D within your budget packet. And this is the information that a lot of this is, we share services with different organizations. So for instance, Beacon and Story County GIS, we do share services. So we pay a portion of the entire bill. And then also with Pictometry and Esri, we pay a portion of that bill as well. And then Tyler at the bottom, which is our tax software. And then Energov, which is the permit system. We share those costs with the city. Vanguard, of course, is just my office, which is the program that we use to actually value the properties. And then the top part of the attachment D is the management services. Those are the services that we pay for within City Hall here. We did have our new phone system incorporated into our computers, so we do not have a separate line item for that one anymore. That's all under IT now. And then the next attachment is the bottom portion of the actual budget, which is attachment B. And that is the other services that we have, or the other expenses that we have that we pay for, such as office supplies, postage, mileage, continuing education. And the attachment D is a portion of this part of the budget, and you can see the description in that second column, which ones are from attachment D. As I said, the telephone was moved to IT, so that was a 100% change because it was moved into the IT portion of the budget. Postage will go down some because we will not be mailing out letters to everyone, informing them of where we're at within the reappraisal process. So we won't have that extra expense. So basically the only postage we will have for the 27 budget will be just mailing out the actual notices in April. And then the next page of that includes the appeals and court costs. Of course, there's a little bit in there for anything that might happen with the conference board or examining board in case there was something that were to come up for that. And then dues and memberships for all of the designations, and the CEAA will be a part of this. So that's for the entire office to be a member of the ISAA, the IAAO, and then our designations as well. Now, I did do an adjustment for the 26 budget year on the appeals and courts because we do have quite a few appraisals coming up. If we cannot get them settled here shortly, we're going to have to start getting appraisals for those remaining 22 cases that we have. I did move 45,000 down to the special projects. I don't know if you have walked by my office lately, but we've got a couple of people that kind of have makeshift desks. We've moved some pieces out from the old back office up front, and they're they're okay, but it's just not very conducive for the office. So we are getting desks that are adjustable also, so that people are able to sit or stand as they need. They're a little bit better on, people with sitting too long. Just trying to do our best to keep them healthy. And then the next part of the budget is going to be the salary and benefits. And as you can see, a lot of these insurance costs and stuff were directly from the city payroll department, the finance department. We did have about an 8% increase in our healthcare costs just from the cost from last year to this year. I also had 2 employees change from single to family because of marriage. So we had some additional costs. They went from a single plan to a family plan, which of course are a little more expensive. So we had some increased costs there. The full-time staff, that is the reason for that increase there, because I will now be fully staffed as of next week. And then for the other staff members, there is a 3.5%, which was what the city told me that their plan was as well. So matching that. The only one that is different is the deputy salary. And this is based on what other jurisdictions do for their deputy salaries. I did put this in as a proposed 2026 when that was first put in there. But when Kenny was hired, it was negotiated to the 105. He, of course, did not have his ICA or anything like that. The board sets my salary and the deputy salary per code. So this is your decision to make on our salaries. The rest of them, it is a lump sum. So everybody is put into the pool, and then as the merit increases are made, I work with payroll to get those adjustments made. So after we do some reviews and stuff, we figure out, what each person is going to get out of that pot. There will be the 2 temps done at the end of this year because our reappraisal project will be completed as of January 1st. So for the first half of the year, of course, they'll still be there, but after January 1st of 27, we will be down to an 8-person staff, which is what our normal staff is. Any questions?
Questions?
Sure. I wanted to validate the use of Beacon. I work with other counties around Iowa who don't use Beacon. Polk County is an example. They have a terrible system, very difficult to work with. And so that's a good investment for our residents. One thing I've mentioned periodically through the years is most counties have the functionality to search on Beacon by the name of the property owner. Is that something that if we wanted to encourage that functionality, it's just a matter of flipping a switch? Is that something that, how would we go about initiating that change?
So we are tied with Story County on that decision. So we both have to agree to do that. One thing that I do know that one of the reasons that there are some out there that do not want that name search out there is because of something like the back the blue bill, which then we have to try and manage anybody that is a police officer, judge, any of those people that want to come in and they do not want their name to be able to be searched on the site. We also have others that are safe at home. So if somebody is in a domestic situation, they do not want their information out there as well. I know there's other ways to get it, but that is a decision that was made at Story County before I got here, and that's their stance. And in order for us, we would have to have our own beacon, so then our costs would go up. So I'm not sure if it's cost effective or prohibitive if we were to do that just because of the name search. You can certainly call in our office. We have, names on everybody, but that's just the reason that it's not out on the website.
Yep.
Is
So,
because of
and,
that.
and not to take time on this, but that tail shouldn't be wagging the dog. Other counties have figured this out. And so we always have to do a cost benefit analysis. So there is a cost to providing those protections. And I certainly am supportive of those protections, but that has to be weighed against the functionality that Beacon provides our users. And this is all public record. So as a starting point, transparency should describe the way government functions. And this is sort of this anomaly where we have all these public records that aren't available to the public. And so my recommendation is to visit with the county. Let's figure this out and put in the adequate protections that you've described, and then figure out how to make these services available like most counties have.
And I can also check and see what it actually would cost for us to have our own separate
Sure.
website as well.
I mean, we're 2/3 of the county's population. If we need to do this and sort of master our own destiny, then, but I would suggest let's try to do this, continue the relationship with the county for cost savings and see if we can accomplish that.
I will speak with the assessor there
Yep. Thank you so
and
much.
see what happens.
So is this something that you'd want to have implemented July 1 of 26, this current budget? And if so, how would you accommodate that if there was increased cost?
Probably would have to do a budget amendment.
Okay. And so my question, is that something you want to try and get done this year, Tim? I mean,
So-
this coming fiscal year?
Yeah. So just let us know. I mean, I think plan A is to work things out with the county. And then if not, we'd have to know what the delta would be between what we're paying now and what would be the cost. Hopefully this would not be an exorbitant price tag on this, but I think it's worth exploring. It's time.
Yep, I can certainly have that discussion and find out also from my customer service rep from Beacon.
Yeah. Thanks so
Find that
much.
out. Sure.
Okay, any other questions?
I would like to mention too that our levy rate is proposed at 30 cents, and it's just slightly above where it was last year. Total budget overall is about 1.85% of increase from last year.
And what is your reserve?
So I'm just under 30%,
Okay.
but I don't think I will have to spend all of the money that I have in the budget for the appraisals. So I think I'll be just over 30% once we get to July 1st.
Okay.
So
And obviously you're comfortable with that from the standpoint of having enough cash flow for the,
yeah, we talked about that last meeting. So between 30 and 35% was kind of where the goal was, somewhere around there. But I'm just under that with this budget, but I think we'll be fine because I don't think I'll have to have all that money spent for the appraisals.
okay. All right. If there's no further questions, I entertain a motion to receive the proposed budget.
So moved.
No, we can't.
Second.
Oh,
Thank you.
There you go.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Entertain a motion to set the public hearing date for April 14th, 2026 at 5:30 PM.
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Entertain a motion to approve and publish the proposed budget.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank
What?
you.
Why do we approve it before the public hearing?
We're
I-
approving it to publish.
Oh, we're just approving the proposal.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're not actually approving the budget, just
Yeah,
what we're
that's a
going
good
to publish
clarification,
for the
yeah.
public.
I need to have a public hearing date in order to publish.
I see. So
So
we're
that's
just,
why we're setting the
Actually,
date.
probably the wording should be, is there a motion
No, it doesn't
publish.
say publish.
It says
Or
publish the
proposed.
budget, not the,
Oh,
yeah,
mine
nothing.
says proposed budget. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I'm
So
just publishing the
your
proposed
point-
budget.
your
Public
point is well-
hearing, we finalize it.
okay. Got it. I follow.
All right, those favor the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed? Carried. Any unfinished business that the conference board's aware of? Okay, and the last item is, under new business, is Sherry's term is up this December 31st. She's interested in being reappointed. According to code, conference board cannot appoint prior to 90 days of the term expiration, correct?
Correct.
So we'll need to set we will have a meeting set up sometime in October to decide whether to reappoint or not reappoint Sherry. And if it does not reappoint, then we notify Sherry in writing and begin the process of finding and appointing an assessor. So any questions on that process? All right, conference board comments, city council, anyone have anything they want to make comments tonight? Supervisors? Art, do you have any comments?
No, it's very enlightening. Thank you.
All right. Hearing none, entertain motion to adjourn.
Move it.
Second.
Either one.
Okay. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. Call the regular meeting for the Ames City Council for February 24th to order. Good evening, everybody. We will get right into consent agenda. Does anyone from council wish to pull an item from consent tonight? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve consent.
Move consent. Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
Edie Hansen,
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Thank you. Move into public forum. It's a time we set aside for comments from the public on topics of city business other than those listed on the agenda. We can't take any action on this. Any comments that are made, and ask that people would limit their comments to 3 minutes or less. And I have 2 cards right now, and we'll start with Brooke Ellison. You want to go ahead and come to the podium and state your name, and you may begin.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, great, thank you.
Okay. Well, yeah, good evening. My name is Brooke Elliston. I was in communication with majority of you last week, and I'm representing myself, but also my fellow neighbors on Lincoln Way in South Russell. I would like to just briefly add some stats that we found on the city's website regarding to the crash that took our neighbor Margaret Olson's life. So starting off, Lincoln Way carries 8,000 to 5,000 vehicles per day, and that is the AADT study in 2017-ish. The posted speed at our intersection specifically is 30 miles an hour. And according to the City of Ames safety data, at 30 miles an hour, the likelihood of fatality or severe injury is approximately 40%. If eliminating fatalities is a stated goal of the Walk, Bike, Roll initiative, speed reduction must be part of the solution. More on the Ames Walk, Bike, Roll initiative. It also states our intersection is rated level of service F, the worst possible rating for pedestrian and bicycles. The crossing is classified as level 4 traffic stress, the highest stress level possible. And even with the controlled crossing at Lincoln Way and Hazel Avenue, this remains a high stress crossing. In addition, we are also located at an eastbound and westbound bus stop, making pedestrians regularly cross Lincoln Way to access public transit. Strategy number 4 in the city's Walk, Bike, Roll initiative specifically calls for improved pedestrian crossings at bus stops. Additionally, Lincoln Way and South Russell is listed by the city as a highest priority location for bikeway and shared use path projects. This location has already been identified as needing intervention, and the city's facility guidelines state that crosswalk visibility enhancements should always occur at intersections like ours, in conjunction with additional measures like high visibility crosswalk markings, pedestrian activated flashing beacons, and advanced yield lines. We have a printed copy of the city's data that we have mentioned above here, and I have it highlighted if you guys would like that. We also have a petition that has been signed by our fellow neighbors.
Very good.
Thank you, guys.
Brooke. If you want to just bring it here and give it.
Yep.
Brooke. All right, invite James
Thank you very much.
Chittister. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Is that right, James? All right.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is James Chittister. I live at 111 North Russell. Grew up in Ames as well on 10th and Grand. So I was the first on site to the accident last week on Wednesday when the motorcyclist collided with 80-year-old Margaret Olson. I made the 911 call, and I was the first to approach Margaret, non-responsive, lying in the middle of Lincoln Way, and the first to interact with a cyclist who will no doubt carry the emotional weight of this accident for his life. It was a really tragic and troubling accident and left our neighborhood and me personally thinking and asking, what can change to prevent this from happening again? I think some things that could be helpful, and I really appreciate, Brooke, you bringing together the information. As a layperson, it's not hard to see that things like updated and more adequate illumination for the street, lit and sign pedestrian crossings, a reduced speed limit, wider sidewalks with a higher curb and a better margin between the road could all be good options. These are all strategies, even just driving around town within a 10-block radius that you see employed in numerous other areas with a really similar setting and situation as far as pedestrians, especially our neighborhood. If you think about things like game day traffic and people walking across the road, in addition to the proximity of the SIRIDE stops that our neighborhood utilizes heavily. This is the father of 4, cyclist, bus rider, an active neighbor, an Ames resident, asking you to take action. It's really important. Walking, biking, busing, and being outside at home shouldn't carry such a high risk. A budget line item cost of risk reduction is small when the effect is on family, neighbors, children, and friends. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, James. All right, we also have Annabella Marquez.
Is this all right or is that too close?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
perfect. Mayors and council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak here tonight. My name is Annabella Marquez. I'm a lifelong resident of Ames. Hope to spend many more years here. I'm asking the City of Ames to formally register opposition to HF 2541, previously known as HSB 664. This bill would prohibit cities and counties from adopting civil rights protection that go beyond state law. For more than 60 years, Iowa municipalities have had the authority to strengthen protections when local leaders determined it was necessary. That authority has allowed communities to respond thoughtfully to emerging needs and to reflect the values of the people who live there. HF 2541 is not simply just about one issue or one population. While much of the public conversation has centered on specifically transgender Iowans, the bill is much broader than that. It would prevent any city from expanding civil rights protections for any protected class now or in the future. It removes local control in an area where local leadership has historically played an important role. As a local volunteer, I see firsthand the importance of trust in our local systems. Our residents need to know that if gaps emerge, our city has the authority to act. Stripping that authority away sends a message that local government cannot be responsive to its own community. Furthermore, as also a resident here, I've seen the firsthand impact that the statewide legislation has had on our LGBTQA+ community. I recall from several months ago when you were considering about enacting the ordinance to expand to gender identity protections, many people had the courage to stand up to you guys and explain why that ordinance would be important to them. Knowing that our city has the authority to protect all its residents matters very deeply to me. It signals that Ames values fairness, stability, and the well-being of every family who lives here. I respectfully ask the City of Ames to register official opposition to HF 2541 and to affirm the importance of local control and strong civil rights protections for all who call this community home. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody else that wants to address council tonight?
Hi, my name's Caleb Whitehouse. I live at 1003 Lincoln Way. I work at the DOT as a transportation planner, so I have a personal connection to this accident. Not only do I live in this neighborhood, I also walk to work, and I also do transportation planning for a living. I would really like to see safety improvements along all of Lincoln Way, especially in our neighborhood. I think there was a study done that prescribed a road diet, reducing the lanes from 4 to 3. I think that's a good start. I would like also to see painted sidewalks or crosswalks and more lighting. So,
Thank you.
Hi, this is Brooke Whitehouse, and I also live at 1003 Lincoln Way. I just wanted to say that I think a road diet is long overdue between Grand and University to protect bicyclists and pedestrians.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Thank you.
All right. We'll close public forum. Thank you for coming and offering your comments. We'll move on to item number 20, Historic Preservation Commission 2025 accomplishments and 2026 work plan. I did tell them at the end of the meeting, they're going to take action on their letter.
All right, so good evening. Tonight you have a Historic Preservation Commission presentation that we do annually to review the Certified Local Government Annual Report, which is a motion that you will have to approve tonight to allow for staff to submit that this week, to be consistent with state rules. And then the second item is to discuss a text amendment to Chapter 31 proposed by the subcommittee from the Historic Preservation Commission. So just as an introduction, the staff report identifies the work plan for next. The staff report focuses on primarily the work plan. The accomplishments are also included in that. And what we really are looking for tonight is direction that the accomplishments are represented accurately and appropriately for the city. And then for the work plan, it is an endorsement of what activities principally the commission would look at undertaking, whether that's a discussion amongst themselves, research by themselves. Some of the activities include public education and other outreach. We noted as one of the items an educational event with the glimpse and the museum and this Ames History Museum. Just want to clarify that was misrepresented a little bit differently. The glimpse is really the organization that is looking for that education event. It's not led by the Ames History Museum. They were a partner last year, but it's not led by them per se. So we're recommending ultimately the approval of both the accomplishments and the work plan. We do note that in the work plan, one of the substantial items the commission wants to take on is a review of substitute material standards or historic material standards for the district. That is a substantial issue within the structure of Chapter 31. And if that does come into the work plan, you would need to, as the council, look at what kind of overall scope of work you're looking for that, including outreach, and when that would be a priority if you were to go out to the public for that discussion. But with that, I am going to turn it now over to our two esteemed members of HPC that are here tonight. I guess we're interspersed, so I guess we're kind of split. Melissa is going to, I think, speak for the commission tonight.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Melissa Goodwin. I'm a council commission member on the HPC. I just wanted to kind of review some of our 2026 work plan. I believe you should have received an attachment A that went over some of our CLG annual report excerpts. And that touches on some of the activities that we conducted last year through the course of the commission. Some of those include we conducted our annual awards program and received nominations for that. That's actually currently ongoing for the next cycle, for the 2026 cycle. And we're able to award three awards last year. Also proclaimed National Historic Preservation Month for May. And then we also, I think one of our major contributions last year was helping to support the Glimpse Inside program and activity, which occurred last fall and was an open house, first recent time in Ames, where folks got to, visit different historic buildings in the city, both a mix of commercial and residential properties, and both we as the commission and as well as the Glimpse Inside organizers. I won't speak for them, but I believe we did hear positive feedback kind of across the board on that front. So with some of those activities in mind, I think we are set to kind of pursue those again this year. We are, as I mentioned, currently accepting nominations for preservation awards. We also, assuming that the Glimpse Inside program occurs again, we would hope to support that as one of our one of our major goals is to help educate the public on historical properties and the importance of historic preservation, and that program really fits well with our goals, and so we are happy to help support that program. Additionally, we are looking to potentially secure a speaker for to address tax credit opportunities for historic properties in Ames. And I believe we thought that this, with the upcoming and ongoing Ridgewood and Chautauqua Park neighborhood, we thought that that would be a good opportunity to then be able to share, potentially with some I think in the past there have been some speakers that maybe address the commercial side of historic tax credits, but to be able to bring someone in to speak to the residential aspect of that for these property owners who are now kind of brought into the mix with that neighborhood. Let's see. Additionally, continue to facilitate the dissemination of historic preservation information. I think one of the things that came up during the last year is that we've had some folks that we've heard sort of anecdotally at some of our meetings that some property owners aren't always aware when they're buying into the neighborhood, the Old Town neighborhood, that it is a historic neighborhood and that there are additional requirements, and that it, often some houses might be under the, might be required to follow Chapter 31 of the municipal code, and they're not always aware of that. And so one of our goals is to be able to, devise some way to better educate the public that are entering and buying into the neighborhood about some of these requirements, so that they don't buy a house and find out later, oh, we have to go through these extra steps, or might have potentially more expensive repairs or things like that. And so, that's something that we want to explore and see how we could get that done. And additionally, as Kelly mentioned, we also want to look at, based on our last year, 2025 work plan, looking at some potential energy efficient improvements or changes to Chapter 31, and potential additional verbiage for window infill, and that will be further addressed in item 21. So I won't speak to that too much, but I don't know, unless Kate, is there anything else you? No. Okay. And this is Kate Gregory, a fellow commission member with me. Sorry, I failed to introduce her. But with that, I'm open to taking any questions that you all may have.
Thank you. Questions?
So I noticed a couple of points in the report, and I don't know whether these are just typos or whether it's something that's been ongoing, but 2024 is mentioned in the review tax credit speaker opportunities for 2024, and approval by the City Council of the 2026 work plan as part of the 2024 CLG annual report. And it seems like those are probably typos and they should be 2025, but I think those probably need to be corrected before the report's submitted. Just to clarify, those are on page 5 of this particular document. And
So those are in the accomplishments.
they are under assessment of progress in 2025, promote the economic development and vitality of the city through historic preservation, the first bullet item on page 5. Do you see that one?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the bottom of that page, the last bullet item. Got it? And I didn't know whether I was confused by that and we're actually looking at holding things over. It is a typo. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that report should be updated to be for 2025.
The other thing that I wondered about was the request to have someone come in and talk about tax credits. It sounds like this has been an ongoing discussion. Has it been? Or have you had somebody in to do commercial and now you're going to do residential, or?
I think several years ago, someone did commercial, but in the last 5 years, maybe longer, to the best of my knowledge, there's been no one who's come in, either the committee.
Excuse me, Kate, would you mind having the microphone so people in the back can hear? Thank you.
Sorry. There has been no one in the last 5 years who's spoken to the committee or commission, I guess, about residential historic preservation credits. And we think as a commission that that would be useful for our knowledge and also to make that available to the public. And in parallel, we want to get that information better out to the Old Town community and also the Chautauqua community. So we're trying to figure out the best way to do that, whether it's through a newsletter or a meeting or whatever we do. So there are really two efforts that we're looking at to try to increase knowledge of our own and of the public regarding tax credits for historic residences.
I just wondered about it because it seemed like it was something that had been under discussion for a while. And it also seems like something that should be easy to accomplish. So it feels like low-hanging fruit that would be really helpful
Yes,
for the community.
we agree.
My other comment, because I'll save the stuff about Chapter 31 to item 21. My other comment is that the proposed 2026 work plan feels a little bit waffly, like there aren't measurable goals. And part of that is, again, like consider speaker opportunities, get a speaker in. You know, I would love to see that because it has been a while since Ames has had that. And offering the Old Town neighborhood information, I think it's essential that you get them the information and it can be distributed. So offering sounds a little bit like, well, we don't know whether they'll take it or not. This is essential stuff because obviously people aren't understanding what the Chapter 31 expectations are when they purchase properties. I love the fact that you're going to engage with local realtors, because I think we've learned how important it is to have that direct conduit to realtors who can then talk to people about what the expectations are if they buy a home in Old Town or, well, actually it's really Old Town because our other districts are National Register districts, not local districts. So they don't have the same guidelines applied to them as this does. And one more thing, I love the idea of the glimpse inside, and I hope that in 2027 we'll see that as a budget item, because if it's going to continue, it really should be part of the HPC budget as opposed to having it in addition where we find funding for it, because I think it's a worthy endeavor and it belongs in an ongoing budget item if it's going to continue.
We would love to do that. I'll just maybe give a heads up that might entail a request for an increase to the HPC budget, because the HPC budget hasn't increased probably in at least 10 years. And so between the educational training that we do and getting speakers in, which need an honorarium, and the cost for the glimpse, we may be coming for more money.
That would be what I would encourage you to do, because I think it belongs in the budget.
Right.
And it's certainly something that's valuable to the community.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, hearing none. Did you make a motion regarding just asking that there be some changes made or tweaks made to the 2026 work plan based on your conversation? Otherwise, we'll move forward with approving it as presented.
I would move that we make the corrections to the dates in the CLG annual report, and also that we have a little bit more measurable language that's more forceful about actually accomplishing something rather than considering or investigating something.
Okay, is there a second?
So if I can comment on that, because don't know what that means. And so to say it's more measurable, I'm not sure what that is. If I can talk to the two that you brought up, the one specific said offer information because we don't control the Old Town newsletter. So specifically it was trying to work with the neighborhood association and say, is this something we can get into the newsletter depending on the timing? So it's not that we could control and make that happen.
But you can phrase this in a way that is supply information to Old Town for distribution in their newsletter, so that it's something that you can say, we did this. And considering speaker opportunities, bring in a speaker. That's something that's also measurable. Did we accomplish it or didn't we?
Okay.
That's what I mean by measurable. Just, I feel like there are studies that show if you commit to something, you're more likely to do it. And I love the idea of being assertive about those things that we can measure.
So for Old Town, so provide instead of offer would be more measurable. And then you're asking for, instead of consider speaker opportunities,
Bring a speaker.
Bring in a speaker.
Okay.
All right. Taylor, you want to read the motion as you got it recorded and make sure we're clear?
So moved to add tweaks to the 2026 work plan, make corrections of the dates in the annual report, and also use more measurable language, including phrase in a way that is to supply information, as well as bring in a speaker and change to more concrete language. Is that okay?
That's capture your.
Second.
Okay. Second. All right. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right. Entertain a motion to approve Historic Preservation Commission 2025 accomplishments and 2026 work plan.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Rollins,
Aye.
Edie Hansen,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Very good. Move on to item number 21 regarding the potential text amendments to Chapter 31 to the code regarding historic preservation.
So City Council looked at this as a request and it's attached as a request from the Historic Preservation Commission from a work plan item in the prior year. So two specific issues, they're separate. So look at this as options that are described in the report. One is related to windows and one which is essentially double pane windows and some related definitions. And the second one is to add provisions related to replacing or infilling window openings. So they're two different issues. A subcommittee worked on that. Staff has looked into some other resources as background for it. And the committee is asking for the city council to initiate that process. Melissa was part of the subcommittee. She's happy to answer questions or to explain if there's any questions about what exactly the goal is of the commission for these, and we could then understand where to go with this.
All right. Questions, comments?
I want to leave it open for other people. Otherwise, I've got some.
Why don't you go ahead and start, Gloria?
Honestly, I think this is a bigger issue than something we approve tonight, because I think this is something that requires a lot more discussion, because at the heart of Chapter 21 is the materials that are required, and there are arguments in the broader preservation community over whether replacement windows are acceptable or not, and for what reasons. The issue of infill, I think we've got ordinances in Iowa, especially Iowa City, that have looked at that. So I'm somewhat less concerned about that option. But when we start considering alternative materials, we're getting into a very long discussion. And I would love it if we had the opportunity for a workshop to talk about Chapter 31 and actually have a discussion with people in Old Town and people who might be interested in purchasing homes in Old Town to try and determine whether it makes sense to maintain our local historic designation for that area. I mean, it's kind of the nuclear option, get rid of it, or whether it is valuable to go the other direction, which is to maintain the somewhat inflexible guidelines that we currently have, or what that middle ground might be that doesn't send us on a slippery slope where we're approving vinyl siding all the time for historic resources. And I think that's a really big discussion. I don't think that's a discussion that we should be having tonight in this particular forum, simply because I don't think we've got input from a lot of the residents of Old Town, and it hasn't been publicized, which is one of those questions that I think was raised by staff. You know, how much time should we invest and who do we engage? So I think this is an issue that maybe belongs down the road a bit so that we can make some plans for where it fits in a work plan for staff and how we engage the people that should be engaged.
So there's really three levels to that comment, Gloria. So I think tonight, the specific one about double panes is very limited in terms of what it's trying to accomplish. Of course, that would have to be a replacement window to get to that, which I hear your comment there. And then the second part is whether existing openings can be filled. The third part of that, the whole issue of materials and historic materials and substitute, that was actually identified in the last item as as part of the work plan for consideration going into 26. So you could push it all together into one issue and push these two smaller ones to a later date as part of a bigger discussion. Or if you feel like these could move independently of a broader discussion, that's where action tonight is possible if you want. So I think that's why we're here, is to understand, is it something you want to take on as separate issues, or is it something that, as you said, just warrants way more discussion as part of a broader discussion?
I think my question to you, Kelly, would be, at what points do you see your staff being involved in what the HPC is doing in their work plan? I personally, if the HPC is doing the research on what's happening in other locations and they're bringing in materials and it's not staff that's doing that, that seems like a perfectly legitimate work plan that past HPCs have done. If it's staff that is going out and finding what's being done and having to bring it back to the HPC, then that's something that needs to fit into your department's work plan. And I don't think we really have a good sense of what that work plan is at this point.
Correct. So I think in this case, the subcommittee did a lot of the legwork, and until they had a concrete proposal, staff wasn't really involved. And then I think in October-ish, the subcommittee made like presentations and updates to the commission. And at that point, staff looked at the recommendations and provided a little bit of background on resources just to try to help guide the commission. But we didn't do much in terms of the research. Now, it's a very narrow issue, so I think the subcommittee's efforts were much easier to direct. And I'm speaking for Melissa here, probably to efficiently get through that issue, versus if you want to go back to 2013 and we're rewriting Chapter 31 and it's just kind of a monster of a project, then yeah, that was a staff-led process overall. I think the question really comes down to engagement. The research is one piece of it, but what's the engagement component? With the two items that are here tonight, you could argue they're minor in scope, and is just notification of the regular text amendment process enough to have them move through, versus the material discussion. I think I alluded to that requires a whole conversation on scope. Do you really expect a volunteer board to spend a lot of time on that? If so, how are they going to structure that? Or as you said, are you going to devote staff resources to it, and what's the priority there? So I think that we're kind of coming back to, is it two issues or one issue? In terms of moving ahead. In terms of our work plan, I plan to bring that to you on April 14th, I believe, is the first meeting in April. So then we can see kind of what's still out there from the past year, and then where do you want to add new items?
Council, I sent you some links. The issue of replacement windows or different alternative types of siding, those are things that the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions has guidance on, and the National Park Service has guidance on, and they tend to be somewhat in flux, but there are limitations on what they recommend. And so that's why I think this is a bigger concern than just, do we allow replacement windows, which is a very limited thing if we look at it as one item on a house. But if we allow that, then the next questions will be, what kind of siding can we put on because we want to increase the the energy efficiency of our homes. What else can we do to increase the energy efficiency of our homes? And so it's one step in this sustainability question that I think leads us away from what was originally the goal of Chapter 31. But maybe the goal of Chapter 31 needs to change. That's why I see it as a bigger concern. And I'm less concerned about the infill of a window space because other preservation commissions in Iowa have come down on that kind of decision.
Commission members, do you have anything you'd like to share or just give a little context or background for council?
I think I would just say as someone who was part of the subcommittee who initially, our initial goal was to look at Chapter 31 to see what opportunities there would be within those sections for any energy efficiency improvement. So the overall goal of our work plan last year being to incorporate more energy efficiency kind of policies into Chapter 31 to see how we can make those fit, while maintaining that overarching goal of historic preservation as outlined in Chapter 31, right? We didn't want to, find things that were kind of discordant or would go against the main goal. We wanted to find things that were, in compliance and complementary and things like that. So the subcommittee, unfortunately, we didn't find a lot of outside of the windows. We identified the windows as kind of the biggest opportunity for that, because siding, whether you're changing one material to another, that's not going to provide a significant increase in your R value and your insulation value of a wall. And so we didn't see that as kind of worth exploring. And Chapter 31 is pretty limited as far as the siding materials that you can use. So we didn't see that as a venture that was kind of worth pursuing. We focused in on the windows and noticed that there seemed to be somewhat of some ambiguity where Chapter 31 doesn't explicitly allow or disallow double pane windows. And so we thought it might be an opportunity where, hey, maybe we could explicitly say double pane windows are allowed. You can get wood framed double pane windows. That is a product that you can buy. And that pane is still the double pane will still pretty much be able to fit within the same kind of thickness of sash of the window itself. And so you're not going to see much. We were thinking that you wouldn't see much of an exterior appearance change if you went with a double pane window versus a single pane or versus whatever was there originally. And so I guess that is why we decided to pursue that. And in the hopes of providing more clarity and kind of consistency, I guess, within that Chapter 31 code to be able to say, hey, homeowners, whether you're juggling, can I put, do I have to stick with single pane or can I put double pane? We thought that explicitly mentioning the double pane would be a good option. And we are kind of, sticking it, focusing really on this small scope item for kind of that change. And throughout the course of our COA reviews, we did identify the infill issue as kind of the code was kind of lacking in that department. And so that's kind of a second issue that we were looking at to provide some more clarity on. The additional materials with the siding and things, that's a whole other separate thing that we acknowledge will take a good chunk of work to be able to get through that, because we do want to have public feedback and awareness as far as that process. So we acknowledge that would take a lot more resources for, researching other planning commissions, what their verbiage contains pertaining to different materials like that. But that's something that we're hoping that, if we could gain staff support for that aspect, that would be beneficial for us to kind of achieve that goal and help provide some clarity on that sense. But we thought that, through the text amendment process, we'd be able to hone in on the language for the window aspect of it. And through that, we would be able to kind of specify, hey, yes, you could do a double pane window, but you need to maintain that same like facade appearance. Like you can't change how the panes are made up or, things like that. I don't know if that's
Very good.
provides any clarity or anything, but that's kind of the process that we underwent as part of the sub.
Are there other questions?
So, if we were to survey the people who live in Old Town, what do you think? Do you have a sense of what their opinions would be on the issue of the windows?
Kate, can
And if you
I
don't,
think
that's okay.
Most of the people in Old Town would really like to see some appreciation for new materials that are consistent with the flavor of Old Town, but would allow more energy efficient homes.
So we lived on 9th Street for 3.5 years. In the winter, we froze, and we would put we had this elaborate practice of putting plastic over all the windows, and it was this. It's okay. It's starting to get cold now, and so and still it wasn't enough because these old windows you couldn't put enough plastic up there. And when I think of the investment that people make in windows, these are not cheap to install. And so these are pretty substantial investments, I think, that bring value. And I think Gloria raises some good points about, are we allowing a camel to put its nose under the tent here? But I wonder if we can do two things at once. I just like to suggest, it seems like we should have the ability to do something reasonable for these people that are freezing right now. And I completely concur with your goal of having a broader conversation, what's working, what's not. It's been a while since we put these things in place. We've had a review. So I would support a proposal to have a workshop or some extended conversation. It just seems like if the people want it, then why wouldn't we do this? It's not going to materially change the appearance of the Old Town area, and will allow these people to stay warmer. Why wouldn't we do that?
Okay,
We don't know that they want it. I mean, Kate is a representative person, but that's the point of having a workshop.
All right, we'll open up public comment. Does anyone want to address council on this topic? Seeing none, we'll close public input for tonight on this topic. Let's go ahead and draw this to a close for tonight. Is there an interest on council to do either option 1, option 2, option 3, or option 4?
I would move that we pursue option 2 for now, to direct staff to prepare a text amendment to add code language regarding the removal and infill of windows.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion?
But not option 1.
No, because I think that's part of a bigger discussion that's related to alternative materials, and the national bodies that advise on these things are not in favor of replacement windows generally. And life cycle of the product says if you replace the window now, you will be replacing it again in about 25 years and again 25 years after that. So long range sustainability against immediate possible increase in your R value. So that's generally where the discussion comes down, along with the appearance. And I think Melissa's right. There are wood framed windows, but if somebody wants to put in a vinyl window, is that part of the discussion that we have or not? I think it's something that needs broader discussion.
I don't want someone in DC telling us in Ames how to keep our people warm at night. Let's let these people put in some double pane windows and have some warmth in their homes.
Okay, there's option 2's been moved and seconded. Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Motion failed. Is there another motion?
I'd like to move option 3.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion.
I think it's a mistake to move on this? Because just because one neighbor wants it does not mean that the neighbor next door or across the street wants to look at what that neighbor has done.
Yeah, I hear you. I think I get the sense that if efficiency is really important for long-term sustainability. I think modern, and again, the look is supposed to match, right? So what we're doing is not altering the way things are supposed to look.
Yeah,
I think that's a fine.
I think that's a good point. So Melissa, can you just comment with this? Is it the intent that the replacement window would be the same size, design, appearance, and to Gloria's point, potentially the same material versus being vinyl casement where you have a double hung wood window that's divided light? Could you share what the intent of that is? 'Cause maybe that would help
Right. Okay.
allay some of the concerns,
Yes.
not all the concerns.
Yeah. So I think our intent was just, the windows would still be subject to the same design guidelines as stated, like same material, size, shape, I guess, in some cases. And, if there are Muntin bars in the window, those would have to be in the next version of the window. I think we are merely just suggesting that, hey, they can have two panes of glass in a sash instead of just one. And everything else, as you're looking at the window, would be the same and would be subject to the same sort of design guidelines and review as current window replacements.
So that will be included in the text amendment language that would come back to council for review.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep. Okay. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right. Motion carried 4-2. The nays were Anita and Gloria.
So just to clarify then, so under staff comments, just the process, what staff was suggesting was not to hold public meetings about these two particular issues, but to just use a mailed notice and let people plug into the process. The process includes a hearing with HPC, a hearing with the commission, and a hearing with the city council. So there's 3 opportunities to become engaged in that without a full-blown discussion of everything about Old Town, the historic district, and the neighborhood in general. So that's acceptable.
Who be the recipient of these?
I suggested we would send a postcard to every property owner in the district. So that's pretty manageable in terms of the number that goes out.
All right.
And if that's acceptable, then we said that could be something that could start in May.
Okay.
Unless you were to say, I want to defer that decision to the work plan discussion in April.
Is there a motion giving staff direction in terms of what kind of public outreach?
I would move that we wait until after the work plan discussion because I don't see this as something that's immediate.
Second.
Okay. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So just to make that clear then, so in April, it will be on the list of department projects, and that will then be prioritized in April of when to start the actual text amendment process with HBC, P&Z, and council. Okay.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you all.
We missed that. I just want to introduce Parker Walsh. He's been with us for over 6 months, but he's an assistant planner, and he's taken over some of the responsibilities of Ray Anderson, who for years worked within the historic district. So Parker's here to help provide staff to the HBC and do some certificate of appropriateness reviews.
Welcome, Parker.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Good to meet you.
All right. Very good. Move on to item number 22, residential curbside recycling program. Brian?
Broadway.
We haven't had show and tell for a while.
Broadway.
Props.
Gotta jump out of the box.
Oh, cute.
You're so wow. Ooh, we already have.
Brian, this is blocking the view of all those people in the back corner there. There you go.
If people want to speak, they have to stand at the
Stand
bin.
up.
Next to the bin.
Actually, I want to just throw paper into it. All right, go ahead.
All right, good evening, council.
Good evening.
We're here this evening talking about our residential curbside recycling program. So very excited to talk about this program with you. Just starting with a little outline. We'll give a little bit of background, set the stage, what brought us here to talk about this program, including the request for proposals that was issued in December and the scope of services that was included in that RFP process, and then a proposed monthly fee for the program, and then some next steps. So to set the stage a little bit, you're all very familiar at this point with the community's transition from waste to energy to the R3C transfer station model. So for a variety of technical, regulatory, economic reasons, we'll be transferring our waste. That'll start in 2027. So aggregating it at the R3C transfer station and then landfilling. So historically, we've had very high diversion rates from the landfill using that waste to energy process. Recognizing going forward with that going away, that we'll have to rely on that recycling to meet those diversion goals. Through that, curbside recycling was identified as kind of the best way to go about that out first. And then through a variety of input from council, input from the public over the fall, we were directed to issue this request for proposals to solicit a hauler to service that curbside program. So included in that scope of services, we're looking for every other week curbside recycling services for almost 14,000 residences here in Ames. So that includes all single-family homes and then multifamily residences up to 4 units. So those smaller multifamily properties will automatically get one of those 96-gallon carts here in June. That'll be delivered. And then for the first year, we'll start service in July. And then for that first year, it'll go directly down to Des Moines to a sorting facility. And then once that R3C is constructed there in mid-2027, the material will go to that facility. And then the contract will be for 5 years with a couple of options after that to extend the contract. And then after those 5 years, those costs for all of the carts will be wrapped into the contract. And then the ownership of the carts will transfer to the city after those 5 years. So the carts will stay in place. They'll be owned by the city, no matter if there are future changes to the program. And then we're also looking for a partner to help us monitor that contamination. That'll be an important goal going forward, is to keep those recycling streams clean of contamination. And then we're also soliciting pricing for our partners in the resource recovery system. So throughout Story County, pricing for the same program that we're looking at for Ames, recognizing that that obligation to divert waste does extend to our partners in Story County. And we're not mandating that they meet those diversion goals through any certain means, but providing the information, the results of this RFP as an option for those partners to consider when they're considering their diversion programs. So 5 proposals were evaluated through a team of city staff, very thoroughly evaluated on different criteria. And then 3 of those firms were then interviewed and evaluated further on criteria. And some details about that evaluation process are in the council action form. And then we landed on Aspen Waste, based here out of Ames. They were the only hauler that was planning to base their operation in Ames. And there are a few advantages to that, including faster response time to any service calls. And then they really demonstrated a willingness to work with the city and develop the sort of program that we were looking for. They service a lot of different communities around the region, but recognized that we had pretty specific goals that we're looking for within the city. And they're very, very willing to work with us on those goals. And then including the education and outreach efforts that we plan to undertake, they seem very committed, a partner in those outreach and education efforts. And then they did have the strongest pricing proposal. And then we did not evaluate through the RFP the pricing provided for our partners in Story County, but they also demonstrated a commitment to work with those partners in Story County, not only providing pricing for curbside recycling, but also for roll-off service. So if a community wanted to provide a drop off in the middle of town roll off dumpster that Aspen provided pricing to service those as well.
Before you move on, you skipped over house side service, and this is an important asset because we got emails on that. Would you just talk about that for a second?
Yeah, so we'll offer house side service as part of the program. So for elderly or disabled or other folks that are unable to get the cart down to the curb, so Aspen would go and service that cart for you up at your residence, and that'll be an important service, like you mentioned, for some folks.
Just to be clear, it's not everybody. It's going to be a pre-qualification and worked out between the hauler. But I just want to make sure that, because council has heard about it and appreciated the fact that that was included as part of the service, it's important to our community.
Correct. You'll have to apply for and request that service.
Thank you.
All right, and then onto the pricing, we're at $775 per month per household. So that cost incorporates a number of factors that are laid out there on the right. So about half of that goes to the hauler and to the cart. And then a percentage of that would be for the capital and operations over there at the R3C. So that would be 0 in year 1, but years 2 through 5, the material would go to the R3C, be aggregated there, loaded onto the transfer trucks, and then hauled down to Des Moines for sorting. And then the disposal costs in there, that is one of our variables. So the disposal costs will vary depending on the recycling markets. So we've made some conservative assumptions there for the recycling markets and those disposal costs. And then also for city administration to operate the program, and then maintaining a program fund for some of those other variables there. So the fuel costs will be subjected to some changes, fluctuations in fuel costs. And then also on the R3C construction bids that are coming in currently, those could also change.
Just to unpack just a little bit why city administration is even in there, because there are direct costs that you're going to be incurring. Would you explain why that is?
Yeah, this is really related to the administration of the billing process. So there's a portion of our utility customer service charges we anticipate being charged to this service as well. So right now the way it works is we have this utility customer service operation, and that operation supports electric, water, sewer, storm water, and what else? I think it's yeah. But there's going to be some costs for including the recycling on the bill. There's going to be some costs for changes that are necessary for answering the phones, responding to concerns and logistics, things like that. So a very small portion of the overall utility customer service expenses for that operation will be supported by a portion of the fee here.
Thank you.
And this would apply to all eligible customers. So a lot of these costs are fixed costs that will occur no matter if you set your card out or not. So you're able to opt out of the program, but you would still receive that charge, as we'll still be paying Aspen and we'll still be incurring these costs for the program. And then through those financial modeling, it's our goal for the fee to remain relatively flat over those 5 years. And that's our goal throughout the contract. And then also wanted to touch on education and outreach. So this is a top priority for this team, for Susan and her team. We do not want you to be surprised when the cart shows up in June, and going through a lot of effort to avoid that. Our website is always going to be the best place for information. We have a page up for this program. We'll continue to keep that up to date as the details develop. And then lots of in-person events will be represented at 2 different elementary schools this Thursday. To try and get the word out about the program, and then also through a variety of digital and mail methods. So we'll send out a postcard to all eligible customers before the program starts, and then continuing to pursue any opportunity for community events, city organized events throughout this spring and summer to get the word out.
So this is probably a good time to reference our containers up here. So one of the first big decisions that we have to make is which color the recycling containers ought to be for the community. We've narrowed it down to a list of 6. 3 of them are represented here by these models. Of course, the cart in the back here is the actual size of the cart, not the smaller one here. But tomorrow we will be kicking off some polling and voting for the different options so that we can determine what it ought to be for the whole community, and we can get the order in for the carts to be delivered in June.
And if you are surprised when the carts are delivered, they will come with a packet of information about the program, and then there'll also be some information stamped on the lid about what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And then next step, so we are recommending a delay of the contract award for the next meeting. I'm not asking for any action tonight. That's just to give everyone an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the program before making that commitment.
All right, thank you. Questions?
I have a question. A lot of work went into all of this stuff, and I'm really appreciative of that. I'm just wondering, is there any room in the future to look into residences that are more than 4 units of multifamily to have recycling at those apartments and residences like that in the future? Is there any discussion about that or room in the future for that?
Yeah, absolutely. There, at our last staff report, we also requested that 20,000 be set aside from Council Priorities Fund for a multifamily project or a pilot project, and that's something we have been developed. We just scheduled a virtual public meeting, and we'll be getting the word out here over the next couple of weeks to those property owners for that pilot project. So excited to kick that off. And then also on the consent agenda tonight, we have a grant application for the AARP grant. So we've been working with a handful of senior living communities to just hopefully start recycling there as well. So yes, it's on the radar.
Perfect. Thank you.
Can you talk about, right now there's glass collection containers at some locations, like, at the grocery stores. My understanding is glass can go into these containers. So if there's people who have extra stuff, can they take it someplace else? I know the resource recovery or the R3C will be accepting it, but what's the plan for the glass collection containers?
Yeah. So currently we're looking at 2 options. One is, do we take those glass collection containers and say, since we're going to put them in the residential curbside, that maybe they're no longer as necessary? And so part of that could be one of the biggest recycling options we have right now is for cardboard. But we also recognize that since we're rolling out just curbside to single family and less than 4 multifamily residentials, that we may look at replacing those glass containers with an actual commingled recycling area where those glass containers sit right now. So the challenge with that is we need to find a way to make sure it's not used as a dumpster for trash. And so there are some ways that we need to modify some of those dumpsters, but we haven't settled on that yet. To be quite honest, we're focused on getting the carts ordered and getting that rolled out. However, before we probably start that program here in the summer, I really see us coming back and saying, here's some options that we can do to possibly have full commingled recycling at distinct locations across the community to help people so they don't have to come all the way to the R3C to take the recycling there. We may still look at cardboard as well, because cardboard is one of those things that it's actually a very good commodity. It's one of the few things that you can make money on recycling right now. And so it's really important that we look at that. And also it can be very, very large volumes, and sometimes it's hard to stick in those containers like that there. So having more of those throughout the community, I think, will help us divert from the landfill. So that's kind of our plan right now moving forward.
And then can you comment on what types of plastics can go into this container?
Correct. So the plastics that right now are number 1s and number 2 plastics. The easiest way to think about those is if it has a screw top lid, it is recyclable right now in the program. Now, that's the challenge we have is we got to make sure we're careful not to wish cycle things. And so our outreach efforts, that not only what we'll be putting on the carts themselves as what is recyclable and what is not, is going to be really critical. And it's not like if one piece of plastic that's wrong is in there is going to throw the whole thing off the wheels there. But we just got to make sure that we're doing a good job educating that. So plastics are a challenge because there are a lot of plastics that don't really have a market right now. So we'll do our best to make sure we have that education out there. One of the advantages we have once the R3C is constructed, if there is a little bit of contamination in there, we are tipping it on our floor we have the ability to sort it a little bit before it goes down to the material recovery facility. That helps us make sure that our rebate that comes back from them is as high as can be. So we will have a little bit of ability to do that. Though if it's tiny pieces, we probably won't be able to get into that. But most of the time, those are just part of the process anyways.
Okay. Other questions?
I'm dying to know what the other three colors are.
I'm not.
They are darker versions of these three colors, or lighter. Sorry. So there's a lighter gray or a lighter. It's a darker green, a gray, and a darker blue. Sorry.
And do we have any concerns that if, let's say that the surveying results say pick the green one, are we concerned that people might take green to mean plant waste or yard waste as opposed to something else? I mean,
No,
I
we're not.
know that in other communities, some of these colors mean something that may not be what we want them to mean.
So we have heard a lot of feedback from the haulers in the interview process that the color of the bin is fairly meaningful in the waste disposal industry.
And green means recycling.
But we will have a City of Ames recycling program logo on both sides of the container. We will have on the lid the list of things that ought to go into the container. We feel pretty strongly that we should be able to get people to recognize that it's a recycling container and not for something else.
All right. Well,
Which is a few more questions. So we have our share of cave people in Ames, Citizens Against Virtually Everything. And so I'm anticipating there'll be people who say, I'm not doing nothing on this. And so if they don't pay the $7.75, what happens? So it's part of their, we're gonna bill them.
Start to become behind on their
So,
bill, their utility bill.
But if people don't pay the utility bill, then eventually we turn off the utilities. Is this the same situation if someone doesn't pay their recycling bill, their collection bill long enough, then we turn off their power? How does this work?
We have some other methods that the finance department uses to collect on past due bills.
So we turn this over to collections eventually.
We have that option, I believe. We have the option of utilizing the Iowa Set-Off program. There are some other tools that finance has.
Okay. So I would be very interested, because this is a new program for us, if it would be possible to build in a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, where you could just sort of calendar coming back to council. I love, and I agree with your comment about thanking these guys for all the work they've done. This is very exciting. We've been working this for a while, and so it sort of feels like we're on the home stretch. But because this is new, it would be helpful to know that there's going to be a place on the calendar where we pause and ask the question, how did things go? Is that something that, I don't know if this takes a council initiative or something that you can just build in to bring this back for the next couple of years to look at?
You'll probably see it every budget year. We'll be going over the budget and the whole operation, so you'll be able to look at all aspects of the process.
I would like it to be separate from the normal budget, because we don't have a chance to really, sometimes it's a very cursory review. At least for the first couple of years, I'd like to know that the money that we're setting aside and things that we've right-sized to these things.
Sure can.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? All right, open public comment. Anyone want to address council on this topic tonight?
Good evening, Council. I'm Thor Nelson from Aspen Waste Systems, and I just wanted to say thank you very much. We're very invested in this community. We couldn't be more excited to be the partner with the city going forward on this program. And I just wanted to offer, if there was any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But thank you.
Thanks, Thor.
Can I ask one question?
One.
Well, I don't have to ask it.
No, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead.
No,
Go
it's
ahead.
all right.
Go ahead.
Let's go on. I don't want to take up any time. It's really okay. Yeah. I withdraw the question. No, it's not important.
Anyone else? All right, close public input. All right, is there any further questions? Otherwise, entertain a motion.
I would move we accept the report.
Second.
Number 1.
And direct award the residential curbside recycling collection contract be placed on the March 10th agenda for final approval. Very good. All right, those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
And I would agree and echo what Emily said. Thank you. And I know all of you have spent a lot of time on this, and this is really exciting to see this come to fruition.
Mhm.
So let's see, vote green, no, just kidding. No lobbying.
We don't get a vote actually on that one.
We don't. It's online.
Oh, let the citizens speak.
All right, we'll move on to item number 23.
Good evening, Council. So this item tonight is a memorandum of understanding between the City of Ames and Astoria County. And what it's for is really the next progressive step in project development for a potential roundabout improvement at GW Carver and Cameron School Road. If people aren't familiar with where that is, it's in the northwest part of the community, right, kind of adjacent to the Ames Golf and Country Club and some newer subdivisions in the northwest of Ames. So really the biggest thing that I want to point out is that this step is just more of a step of feasibility. So we need to do a concept, and we feel like it's a great candidate for a safety grant. So we have that in the scope, but it does not obligate the city or the county for actual construction. This step is really just to let us know what are the right-of-way impacts and other important details so that we could work towards an actual project. So the report has quite a bit of background. I won't go over it, but if we have questions, happy to answer anything that I can.
Thank you, Damien. Questions?
Tell me a little bit about the timing of when we would know.
Well, so I think a big step is knowing the right-of-way impacts. So that I think is a critical step. So once we have this MOU approved, that frees up staff to do a solicitation. We get a consultant on board and start to work through the technical details. And then through the summer, would be able to look at what those options are for right-of-way impacts and do the safety grant. And so here in the fall, kind of leading into our next CIP round of CIP preparation, we'll have details. We've worked with the county because the county will be involved. The county engineer will be involved with this process. So we'll have some dialogue there and come back to council here in the fall, hopefully in time for the CIP development. And if we do, for argument's sake, say we have an agreement on how to do a project and how to fund it, we'll likely put that proposal before City Council.
We should thank Linda and the Story County Board of Supervisors. We asked for their help in sharing the cost of it, and they stepped forward. So we want to thank them for that, a real partnership and working ahead on that project.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, and the council probably saw a letter we sent to supervisors. That was the end of last month. You know, they promptly got on their agenda and supported it. So, Linda, Tifa, and Lisa, thank you very much for your support, and we appreciate the ongoing partnership that the city and the county have working together. So, thank you very much. Other questions? All right, open public comment. Does anyone address council on this topic tonight? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Entertain motion on resolution approving the memorandum of understanding.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Corriere. Aye. Rollins.
Aye.
Vitti Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you, Damon. Thank you, Justin.
Do you want, was that just the memorandum or also allocating funding?
There's also a B to that you might want to take a look at.
I would move that we direct staff
Thank
to
you.
allocate $50,000 from unobligated ARPA funds to support the city's share of the preliminary engineering and grant application work.
Second.
Thank you, man. That would have been a bad oversight.
No, that's all right.
Thank you. All right. Roll call.
Rollins.
Aye.
Vitti Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, move on to item number 24, annual tax abatement certification.
right, so today on this item, you have an annual obligation to certify that applications under our adopted tax abatement programs have met qualifications. So we have 52 applications that were complete, and as of today, had everything complete for your approval. We're recommending approval of those. Those are all single-family homes. The only applications this year really came in relation to the ownership housing program. There was one that was not an owner-occupied home, so it is ineligible. So an alternative one, you have 3 steps to that resolution. One is to certify the 52 property tax abatement applications that do comply, determine that the one on Ada Hayden Road does not, and that is principally because it is not an owner-occupied home. And then C, the actual action tonight is to move this forward to the city assessor so they can then process the tax abatement requests. So this is pretty straightforward overall. We did provide you a chart just for tracking purposes on the first page to talk about single family home construction. Really, there's been no meaningful difference in the 2 full years that we've had the program from how housing was constructed previously. So we've had that now for 24 and 25. The current program runs through the end of 27 for new housing starts. So it'll still be multiple years unless we change the program. Multiple years left for this process to continue. Going forward, you will recall that some developers in new subdivisions had said that they would be willing to forego this incentive because of other incentives that may be offered to them, especially if there's going to be tax increment financing. So as we move forward, we may need to edit this program and alter some of its boundaries. And we'll come back at another date to talk about that. Tonight, we're just here to certify those properties that did comply with the adopted program. Are there any questions about any of the applications or how the process works?
Is there any questions? All right, open up public comment. Does anyone want to address council on this topic? Close public input. Is there a motion on resolution certifying property tax abatement applications?
I'd move alternative 1A through C.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Feedy Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
All right, move on to item number 25, urban renewal areas and tax increment financing projects.
Yeah, so tonight, this is kind of a unique request for us, but trying to follow through on the December initiatives by City Council to plan our time accordingly to move ahead with the incentive packages. We have 5 projects that are likely to involve some version of an urban renewal area. There's a bit of process and time involved with each of those. So tonight, what we're looking for is just confirmation that City Council wants staff to move ahead on these 5 projects that we listed here in essentially the order that they're ready. So we wouldn't be coming back each time and say, do you want us to start this now? Do you want us to start this now? So if you move forward with this and direct staff to proceed, then we will be initiating the required timelines as staff, setting dates of hearing and presenting the draft plans and ordinances to you as they're made available on the same schedule as you would if we came and got permission for each one. So tonight, you're not committing to any actual incentive. You are setting the tools up to allow for those things to be done more efficiently.
Questions? When you say consistent with the project list and descriptions, that's not, did you say that isn't, the order is not implicit in that? Is that correct?
The fact that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no, not necessarily. That probably is the order, but it does not necessarily have to be that order.
Okay. All right. All right. Open up public comment. Does anyone who wants to address council on this topic? We'll close public comment. Any further questions? Otherwise, entertain a motion.
I'd move alternative 1.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Move on to item number 26, resolution approving request for proposal for a sale of single-family market lots in the Baker subdivision.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you, we have a long-awaited request for proposals to develop the north side of the Baker subdivision. We completed the south side this past year with 8 homes built by Habitat for Humanity and then our 38 low-income housing tax credit townhomes. So that is completed. So now we're anxiously moving to the north side where we have 18 remaining lots that we're looking to propose to sell. We have prepared this RFP right now to sell 6 of the 12 market rate lots and make certain number of those lots available as part of the RFP, which has been identified on this. Thank you. Which is identified on this lot, on this map, which are highlighted in yellow. We just added lot 13 from your previous approval because it was, we had missed one lot. So it is 12 market rate lots that are available. And we're looking to sell 6 of these lots, and as part of the RFP process, a developer or interested developer could pick any of these lots that are available. Lots 18, 19, and 20 are not available at this time because we have some geothermal issues that we're going to be correcting on those lots, and hopefully they will be available later on in the remaining process of the lots. As you know, we already had a covenant set aside for this subdivision, which gave a minimum size of square footage of 1,200 for the market rate lots. A multi-story could be up to 1,250 square feet. All homes required a basement. We already had a criteria for experienced builders have had at least 3 homes within the past 7 years. These homes are only going to be for owner occupied. They're not to be rented out. All the homes have to be connected to the geothermal system that was put into this subdivision. And we talked about construction timing would be within 6 months of closing on the purchase of any lot. And any additional homes must be completed within 12 months starting the construction. You know, the timing of the sale of these 6 lots is really important. We're trying to balance that program income that comes in from the sale of these lots with the work that we have to do in spending our CDBG funds. So we have already started the process to meet our timeliness test this year. And we're believing if we can sell 6 lots between July and October of this year and get those funds in, that we will have enough time to meet our timeliness test for May of 2027. So that's why we're starting at 6 at this time. So we're also allowing any interested developer to buy multiple lots because we know that some may be seeking workforce housing tax credits, and they'd have to have a minimum of 4 lots in order to compete in that program. And so I just want to quickly on your council action form kind of highlight some of the minimum requirements of the RFP. And again, we are going to be looking at the type of home design and style to be built on the lots. Again, the builder readiness and identifying whether a contractor or developer meets the minimum requirements, proof of financing or qualifications for a loan so that we know when we sell the lots, they will be built within the time frame that's in the covenant, and identify which market rates lots they would like to be interested in purchasing, date of closing, and any contingencies such as if they were to apply for the housing tax credits. And also we're looking at if you're buying more than 1 lot or 3 lots, that no 2 houses plans will be built next to each other. That's the same criteria that we did in our Kimmel Road development down there. We also laid out 3 scoring criteria. It talked about 50 points for housing design compatibility with the neighborhood, 30 points for the quantity of lots that they purchased, also price for the lots, 20 points. And we talk about the price of the lots. in that we use our CDBG funds to purchase this land and to put in the infrastructure. We did have the lots appraised early on, and the appraisal value of the lots range from anywhere from $61,000 to $75,500, depending on the size of the lot, and they do vary in this north side of the subdivision. So as the proposal create these lots, we came up with including a minimum sales price, and we used the basis of buying the land, which we spent just over $550,000, and then the cost of the Trip Street extension, the subdivision-related improvements. We estimated that 65% of those expenditures, which is just over $1 million, would benefit the creation of the 26 lots, and 35% of the creation of the Lot 27, which is the townhome creek sides, would be subtracted out, including the park and other neighborhood improvements. And so looking at all of these costs, we averaged it out approximate of $53,000 per lot based on all of the costs that we put in using our CDBG funds. And so again, it kind of ranges based on the size of the lot. So we're recommending establishing a minimum price of $50,000, which are higher costs for larger lots. And the RFP would include the price of the lots based on the size that you see on the map on the screen. Again, we looked at the appraisals and the HUD guidelines when we're hoping that we can justify that utilizing our investment and coming up with this minimum price would work for HUD's approval for that in the future when we get ready to get at that point where we're dealing with them as we sell these lots. And so that's kind of a overview of what the RFP would look like. I do have a correction on the RFP. The date of the pre-proposal meeting is actually Tuesday, March 10th, and not Tuesday, March 11th. I'm going to make that correction as we continue to develop this proposal. And with your feedback or any other comments that you would like, if you would like to increase the price of the lot size or anything, we would make those adjustments before we would go out for proposals based on the timeline that we've laid out.
Just want to double check if lot 21 and 22 are included, since they're highlighted on the diagram, but they're not in the text of that available lots.
Just have to add 21 and 22, the narrative.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Mistake. They would be
We need
included.
to
Sorry about
correct
that.
That's all.
We'll correct that on the actual RFP. Thank you.
So it says the interested buyer may select and submit proposal to purchase 1 to 6 of the following available lots. Is the intent only to sell 6, or is the intent to sell all of them? And someone who wants to buy multiple lots is limited to no more than 6.
No, the intent at this time is to only sell 6 lots because of the program income that we would get in from the sale of 6 lots. If we were to do all 12, it would be too much program income for us to meet our timeliness test for next May. So that's where we're starting with 6, and they can choose any of those 6, and they can choose up to 4, or depending on what they offer.
6.
Yeah, the 6 would be the most.
One party could purchase 6.
I just, when I was reading through, I was a little confused. I didn't know if, so the intent is no more than 6 will be sold at this time.
Correct.
Yes.
But they can choose from any of the lots that are
Understood. Yeah.
available.
Yeah. That,
Yes.
anything that's highlighted,
Yes.
they're available to purchase them. Yeah.
Yes. So they have a choice of the ones that are available, up to 6.
And is there some kind of a agreement that we have to have with the federal government that we're getting compensated
What we-
appropriately, so we don't get ourselves in trouble that we undersold them, or is that already taken care of?
Well,
What we know is they must be sold at market value.
Okay.
There's no more guidance than that. So that's how come we try to set a minimum value to try to, again, recoup minimum investment. It's in arm's length transaction, whatever we do here. So we're hoping that the RFP process, creating an opportunity for someone to bid on the property, is viewed as that, rather than us have to sit back and wait for offers and then get appraisals. So Vanessa spent more time than she wants to count trying to get more specific answers, which she has not gotten from HUD.
Okay, good. Other questions?
There seems to be a sticky note about GIS on here. I'm just wondering if something is missing. It's on page 5.
You can ignore that. That was just, we were working, 3 of us was working on the document at the same time. And so some things didn't get taken out when we reviewed it. So
Maybe we were missing
no,
essential GIS
no,
information.
I saw that tonight. I'm like, okay. So, but we will correct that before we get the RFP out on the street.
I have a question about the geothermal. So the requirements indicate all homes must be connected to and utilize the geothermal system. Has there been thought to making that optional? There's been a lot of challenges working with the geothermal in this subdivision. If a developer wanted to buy these but didn't want to necessarily tie in, is that something that is a sticking point that we would have to do that?
Yeah, it's in the covenants, and the last time it was discussed by council, there was no motion to edit the covenants. So it's required unless council changes the covenants.
And so we can change the covenants on this. Has this been vetted with any developers to see how these criteria would might fare with potential bidders?
No, since we're making an RFP, we don't go out and discuss the preferences of people that may be
But we
interested in
do that all the time. We have RFPs that we talk with potential bidders to get a sense of, are there criteria that on their face would be problematic, so that we increase the chance of a successful RFP.
So in this case, council policy by covenant was to do it. So staff did second guess that and go out and look for other direction regarding that issue. So if that was an interest, we would have to pause and do something else.
And we had already sold 8 lots to Habitat with the geothermal requirement.
And that did not go well. My understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the increase in price of this is going to be $10,000-$30,000. Am I correct on that? For tying the house into the geothermal, is that number correct?
I would say that's not exactly correct. There's an additional cost for geothermal over other options. There's an extra cost of linking into the well that Ames Electric paid for to be sunk into the ground already. And then the equipment costs, I can't say what the comparable differences are between the electric furnace and the other elements of all that. So that might be the all-in cost, but is it the differential? I don't know that.
Well, Habitat told us that they were substantial increases in these costs. And so I'm excited. And first of all, congratulations. We've been waiting a long time for this, and it's very exciting that we're here doing this. But this may be, as we do this RFP, we may learn things that may cause us to revisit the decision on the restrictive covenants, because we can go back and retool this and amend the covenants. This is like up to our 3rd amendment right now. We could make it optional. We've got the wells, and if people feel like that's a priority for them, they could always do that. But to require it, I worry about that. Thanks.
Other questions? All right, we'll open up public comment. Does anyone address council on this particular topic tonight? Seeing none and hearing none, we'll close public input. Is there any further questions or comments? Is there any interest? Is everyone supportive of the minimum purchase price listed in the proposal? Hearing nothing.
I would move.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll move alternative 1.
Second.
Okay, and that's with the understanding that the minor adjustment we made on the
Yes,
that
yes.
were in time. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, roll call.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere. Aye. Rollins.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Very good. And I Kelly and Vanessa, I would just maybe just clarify, just read through it again with
Yes.
and just make sure that it's clear that no more than 6 lots will be sold, so people don't get, thinking that, well, why didn't I, if someone comes and buys all 6 lots at a higher price, that why couldn't I buy a lot, essentially? Just making sure that they know going in.
Yes, sir.
Yep, okay, very good.
We can do that. Thank you.
We'll move on to item 27, waiver request for rural 2-lot minor subdivision.
So this next item is the question of whether or not city council wants to waive their subdivision jurisdiction within 2 miles of the city. So the staff report describes an interest of an owner wanting to divide roughly a 7.5 acre parcel into 2 pieces. One, it already has a house. The question is, it's on the extreme edge of our 2 mile area. It's designated, if you extrapolate out our land use map to either be natural area or ag, we typically don't support divisions in those areas. The argument in this case by the owner would be that it's on the fringe of the city in an area that we have not intended to grow. So would we be willing to waive our standards? So if council is willing to waive those standards to allow for an additional lot to be created, then the question is the process, which is described in those options. So tonight you wouldn't be formally approving it. You'd be indicating support for the applicant to proceed with a plat of some type with the intent of having council approve a waiver at a later date. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? If there's no questions, entertain a motion,
I'd move option 1.
Second.
which is to approve waiver of city review. Thank you. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Just to clarify, so that means that they will have to still apply for the waiver. The intent is that once they've applied, then we would officially waive the review so that they can just proceed to Story County. Okay. Just want to clarify. We haven't done that before, so I just want to make sure that was clear on the record. How
So
it's
it's
gonna work.
basically you handle it from here on out, right?
Nope, it'll have to come back to you to formally adopt a resolution saying that specifically this property is exempt for however we word that, for whatever time frame. And then that has to be given to Story County for them to proceed.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
That's what
All
I
right,
wanted to clarify.
very good. All right, move on to item number 28, staff report on 2026 Neighborhood Connections Initiative.
So Mayor and City Council, at your January goal setting session, you emphasized the importance of having strong communication and providing meaningful public engagement. And so to support that goal that you have, we are proposing a Neighborhood Connections initiative that's really focused around sharing relevant city information with residents, seeking public engagement on major projects happening at the time, and then also building social connections amongst neighbors. So we have 4 strategies that we've included in this initiative, and Cassandra will go over that with you.
Good evening, everyone. So let's jump into strategy number 1. So staff reaching out to active neighborhood associations to ask them to participate in a survey so that we know how they are engaging, how the city can assist with any of the things that they are currently doing or wish to do, if we can follow up with any of the services that we are currently providing to our residents, whether it's free weatherization, utility rebates, or any other interests that they may have. Also, so that staff can update this contact information and in general be able to gather that input and feedback and use that for this neighborhood connection initiative. Strategy number 2 is reviving our neighborhood improvement grant, the program, in order to refresh it and update it. So the input from the survey results will be entered into how to make this program more accessible, more valuable. What are residents looking for in order to work together? Because that is one of the 2 main components of this neighborhood grant initiative, is for them to work together, collaborate, get to know them, get to know their neighbors and make those stronger connections. And then the second piece of the grant is also obviously the beautification of their neighborhood in some form. So after the program has been updated, strategy number 3 is the big events, the road trips. So the city of Ames has been sectioned off into 5 areas just to be able to focus in on specific audiences in a north, south, east, west, and central part. The location specifically of where the event will happen is yet to be determined, but the idea of strategy number 3 is that city staff will be mobile. So we are meeting people where they are at. We are engaging in the neighborhoods that they live in the communities that they are living day to day. The strategy highlights a few of the things. So each stop is going to have our mobile command trailer that will be available for people to tour, get inside, see what it looks like. It will also have city staff delivering items like donuts, coffee, water. Inside, we will also have an area designated so that 2 community members that haven't met can participate in our Up Close podcast so that we can continue building those connections in the neighborhoods. We will also have a specific survey so that our residents can provide input for current and upcoming projects that the city is working on. At these events, we will also have our neighborhood block party to promote so that people continue using it, and we will offer opportunities for them to learn more about what it is, and also if they want to sign up in that moment to reserve it. These events, these 5 events, will also be Council Connect opportunities to engage with our residents. One other activity that will happen on all 5 stops is having an interactive map so that in the north part of Ames, the community members within those boundaries can say, these are the assets that we believe make our neighborhood great, because we want to start where all the positives are and build from there so that everyone else can see and continue working towards, okay, how do we make something else better, or what else can we add from that? Also, city staff tabling will make sure that departments that have, again, the projects, other services, continue doing their outreach, have tables at each of these events as well. Display boards so that it can be another way to interact a little bit more indirectly, but that the residents can be informed on all of our services and programs, and have also some fun, engaging family activities. Strategy number 4 would be for staff to reach out to those groups that are already engaging in specific activities or common goals. So for staff to reach out to faith-based organizations, cultural associations, local agencies, whether they're nonprofit organizations, Rotary clubs, Kiwanis, those types, so that staff can meet with formal, informal leaders, the ones where they know the specific audience that they already serve, so that we can gain some momentum from how we can make sure that this big event is advertised appropriately so that we know that we are targeting all of the audiences and all of the neighborhoods where we will be located, and build those relationships, because we know that those formal and informal leaders in the community are trusted members already. So we're hoping that through them, we can also make this a really big, successful event, and to be able to advertise a little bit easier. So in conclusion, staff is looking for the 2026 neighborhood connections to really meet people where they are, to be mobile, to be more accessible, to be able to do a road trip and physically, visit the different areas of Ames, and assist staff and members to make new connections and continue building those relationships, to revamp the grant program, because it has so much potential. It can really do a lot of good and overall continue to increase the quality of our residents. Any questions?
Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you. Questions?
I just had one, and it's about the city's website. So I'm trying to find on our website any information about current neighborhood associations, and I can't. And I thought that used to be on our website, like a list of them, but it is not findable through Google, nor is it findable through the search bar on the city website. So I'm just wondering if we put that on hold until, like, did we put that on hold on purpose?
That is correct. So it used to be housed within planning, and with the engagement coordinator role, it made sense to transfer to myself. However, we are in the process of who is our audience for neighborhood associations and in general our residents. How are we updating? What do we need to update? So in order for that to be completely revamped and refreshed, yes, there is a pause on not having that be active on the website because we don't know exactly what it will look like. However, we have been fielding emails and phone calls from residents who are interested in the grant right now, even though it's not active on the website. And we have been able to give them information and supply them with a current application.
Yeah, I'm not
So
even-
that hasn't stopped.
So I'm not even talking about the neighborhood improvement program necessarily.
Just the neighborhood association?
In general.
In general.
Yeah, I cannot find
Yeah.
a list of them.
And
or a
maps of the
map them.
boundaries and all that.
There used to be
Yeah.
a map and a list of contacts.
There used to be, I think part of that just didn't transfer when we did the web migration to the new website. So part of that is we probably missed it in the carryover. It wasn't our intention to leave it out or anything like that, but we realized that that is lacking. And so that part of our effort here would be to get that information updated and get back up. Yeah, for
So I
sure.
was going to say it would be really hard for people to know how to connect.
Yeah.
If they can't find that info. We have an audience question, but I don't know if you'll allow that.
We'll get public input in a second.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That was my question.
Thank
So
you.
As long as we make an effort to get it back up.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Other questions, comments?
One of the things we were discussing with Pa earlier was the map of the 5 areas. And I don't know whether you're going to stick with these boundaries or not. They don't seem as intuitive given the way people typically interact. Like mostly things like the Scan neighborhood and Oak to Riverside are divided by Iowa State University. So how do you find that common neighborhood space? And I think we were talking about the fact that the students, many of the students who live in that red zone are gone between May and September. And so the timing might not be optimal to get the best input for, well, get the best mix of permanent residents and the renters who populate those neighborhoods typically.
Great point. I think specifically for the students, that could be a fairly easy fix. When thinking of the student population, that the central area could be done end of August or September to make sure that we're including the majority of the students. As far as how the decision was made to make those 5 areas, part of it is arbitrary. Part of it was east of Grand, west of it, same for Duff, where are elementary schools, and kind of zoning it that way. Is it the best? If you have other recommendations, I am all ears. So if there's any boundaries that you think could be moved, please let me know and I will make sure to.
Yeah, I think the point there was really just to pick 5 different locations throughout the city so that they're all in the northwest corner or southeast corner or whatever to really try to spread it out throughout the city.
Well, I
So
know
that
that-
we knew we were making the concerted effort of doing multiple events instead of one in a centralized location instead of rotating. Sorry, Mayor.
Oh, so you like in the red zone for yeah, Old Town, you got Oak to Riverside, which I think, council and I have been invited to, annual events. It would seem to be a little inconvenient if they had to go to Iowa State University Central Campus, but you're saying you'd have potentially multiple events within each zone, or just one
No,
event?
sorry, I meant the multiple events as in the 5, which is why the city of Ames was divided in 5. And then from there, with the partnerships and the collaborations of the community, formal and informal leaders, and the groups to figure out the majority within that area, what the best location would be.
I would just offer that I think there's 3 really viable neighbor associations right now. It's, Clear Creek, Old Ames Middle School. You got Oak to Riverside, and you got Old Town. It would seem to be respecting those current.
Hey, the
you know-
Roosevelt.
What's that?
I said the Roosevelt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
They're
there's
pretty
more. Yeah,
happy.
there's,
Old Edward.
I think that
okay, there. All right. So there's multiple ones that
we
are,
wanted to start with 5 and spread them out through the city, and then if it's successful, repeat it again in future years. So it's not like these would be kind of the only events. If we find that they're really popular, we would bring it back and continue doing them.
Yes.
So.
I know it's only so much staff time, and
Right.
I really appreciate what you.
I mean,
doing.
ideally, we could do this in every single neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
A party in every block.
exactly, I know that would be great.
I feel like
No,
there would be nothing prohibiting Oak to Riverside from going to the one in the green instead of the red, right?
Correct.
Yes, it's just for staff to kind of be able to hone in a
Yeah.
little bit better on
Yeah.
the location. Yeah.
Okay. Other questions, comments? All right, open public input. We had a hand raised, so you're welcome to come to the podium. And we do that so people who are watching on TV and for the recording, can hear your question.
My name is Christina. I live in Oak to Riverside. We are quite tight knit, but I was going to ask how one would go about making a formal neighborhood association. Is it Deborah used to be our email go-to lady, but do we have a formal one?
I would just tell you what, that's a good question, and I think we'll we'll connect
connect with
Cassandra
you,
with you right after
Sounds good.
after this item's over. All right. Any other feedback? All right, close public comment. Any closing questions or comments? Thanks for the work. Appreciate it. It's exciting.
Got a lot of potential.
Yes, it does. Lots.
And
Thank you.
Are you looking for anything from us tonight? Didn't see anything.
No. Thank you.
Very good. All right. We'll move on to item number 29. Hearing on the 2022-2023 Bridge Rehab Project, a program, South Fourth Pedestrian Bridge over Iowa Creek. Are there any questions for Justin on this project? Or do you have something you want to bring to our attention tonight, Justin?
Not at all. Just I know there's several items here coming up for hearings. I'm here happy to answer any questions you have on any of them.
Any questions? All right, declare a public hearing on this project to be open. Is there anyone who wants to address council on this project? All right, declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain a motion accepting reported bids.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Entertain a motion and resolution approving final plan specifications and awarding a contract to Boulder Contracting LLC of Grundy Center in the amount of $1,577,234.95.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Fetcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Move on to item number 30, hearing on the 2023-2024 Stormwater Erosion Control Program at Ames Grove. Any questions for Justin on this one? Declare the public hearing on this item to be open. Is there anyone who wants to address council on this particular program? Declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertaining a motion on accepting reported bids.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Entertain motion resolution approving final plan specifications and awarding a contract to Nagel Construction of Allerton, Iowa in the amount of $346,267.50.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Move on to item number 31. Any questions for Justin on the 2025-2026 Collector Street pavement improvements on Bloomington Road? Declare a public hearing on this project to be open. Is there anyone who wants to address council on this topic? Declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain motion accepting reported bids.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Entertain motion on resolution approving final plan specifications and awarding a contract to Manass Inc. of Ames, Iowa in the amount of $896,852.24.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Corriere.
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Next project, the 2025-2026 Concrete Street Pavement Improvement Program number 1, Clark Avenue. Questions for staff?
Not a question, but all of these have been coming in under the engineer's estimate, and it's really good to see that.
I concur.
Thank you. All right, declare a public hearing on this project to be open. Anyone want to address council on this topic? Declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain motion on accepting reported bids.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Entertain motion on resolution approving final plans, specifications, and awarding a contract to Construct Inc. of Ames, Iowa in the amount of $1,114,875.50.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Rollins.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
And on 2025-2026 Concrete Street Pavement Improvement Program number 2, Sunset Drive. Any questions for staff? Declare a public hearing on this item to be open. Is there anyone who wants to address council? Seeing and hearing none, declare a public hearing to be closed. Entertain motion accepting reported bids.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Entertain motion on resolution approving final plan specifications and awarding a contract to Construct Inc. of Ames, Iowa in the amount of $1,295,903.20.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item number 34. Any questions on the 2025-2026 Concrete Street Pavement Improvement Program number 3, Campus Avenue? Declare the public hearing on this item to be open. Is there anyone who wants to address council? Declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain motion accepting reported bids.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Entertain motion on resolution approving final plan specifications and awarding a contract to Construct Incorporated of Ames, Iowa in the amount of $838,938.
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
We'll move on to item number 35. Any questions for staff or any comments from staff on the sanitary sewer rehab, East Lincoln Way and Nickel Trunk Line project?
The only thing I'll say is on this project and the next one that you'll see is that we are requesting for a delay of awarding the contract because of the state revolving fund loan process that we go through. So that's the only difference on these.
Thank you. Declare public hearing on this item to be open. Is there anyone who wants to address council? Declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain motion accepting reported bids and directing staff to delay award of bid to follow SRF procedure.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And item number 36, declare public hearing on sanitary sewer and manhole rehabilitation based on 11 project to be open. Is there anyone who wants to address council on this topic? Declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain motion accepting reported bids and directing the staff to delay award of bid to follow SRF procedure.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on, item number 37, first reading of ordinance revising municipal code, chapter 28 for water meter setting requirements. Any questions for staff on this? Is there anyone from the audience that wants to address council on this topic tonight? We'll close public comment. Entertain motion on first reading of ordinance revising municipal code, chapter 28 for water meter setting requirements.
Move on first.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Rollins,
Aye.
Edie Hansen,
Aye.
Gartner.
Aye.
Entertain motion on second reading of ordinance renaming Center Avenue to Champlin Avenue.
Move on second.
Second.
Roll call.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Rollins,
Aye.
Edie Hansen,
Aye.
Gartner.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Entertain motion on third reading and adoption of ordinance number 4587, rezoning property west of the intersection of Harrison Road and Wellback Drive from residential low-density RL to suburban residential low-density FSRL with a planned unit development.
Move on third.
Second.
Roll call.
Corriere,
Aye.
Rollins,
Aye.
Edie Hansen,
Aye.
Gartner,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Thank you. And item number 40, entertain motion on third reading and adoption of ordinance number 4588, modifying municipal code, chapter 10, garbage and refuse. Entertain motion to postpone third reading and adoption to the March 10th, 2026 city council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, disposition of communications to council. We have 10 different items. The first is a request from Mimi Wagner, Ames resident, regarding handicap parking regulations. I believe that's in front of the library.
I would move that we ask for a memo from staff on this one.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next one is a email from Valerie Bolin, request from Ironwood Homeowners Association for City of Ames to apply for Iowa DOT grant, planting grant.
Move we pursue that?
I'll second.
Or what? Put it on the agenda or a memo?
Memo first.
I thought we had a memo on it.
No, I don't believe so.
No, we don't.
Oh, I guess we just got very detailed emails that described all the interactions.
That's true.
Okay, so I'll move we get a memo on it.
I'll second.
Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we got a email on safety concerns at intersection Lincoln Way and South Russell from Brooke and Dave Elliston.
I want a memo on that too.
Yeah, I would move we get a memo from staff on that one.
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And Brooke, thank you. And Dave, thank you for waiting. And I think I laid out for you what goes now. The council will get a information back from staff, and at that point they can decide to put it on the agenda or take no action. So any idea that might take a few weeks, month or so to get the memo? Don't know.
Weeks at the most, right? We have a lot of data and other studies
Yeah.
we could
So
share.
we'll let
It's not
Jeff.
like we have to do any further studies unless you want to update them, so.
I think without having a ton of detail behind it, we need to make sure we have the accident report from PD and understand exactly what happened. Then we do have some studies that we've done in the corridor that were referenced earlier tonight too. So we just want to put that together. It would probably, I'd say maybe the next meeting might be too quick, but I'd say maybe in a month we'd be able to have that back.
Okay. And then Brooke provides some information, maybe a copy of what you have already, but maybe Taylor just give a copy also to, Justin. He may already have it, but the point is at least he's
Absolutely
familiar with what she provided. Okay. All right. Next is a memo from Damian Pressiger, traffic engineering manager, regarding Mortensen Road corridor traffic concerns from Bonnie Alley and Ryan Park.
Yeah, so the next 5 is Damien's
Yep.
response.
Let's
and
just take let's
recommendation.
just take 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
I would move that we forward the memos from Damien to those people who asked for him to look into this.
I'll second that.
Okay.
4 to 8. So we're doing
Yep. 4 to 8.
4 to 8.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? carried. Next is a memo from Kelly regarding the complaint regarding game day parking and trash on 1325 South 4th. Is there any interest in placing this on a future agenda?
So if,
I would
if
move
we don't take further action, staff will reach out to the property owner and tell them that the game day parking is out of compliance. Is that right? That's from what I read in that memo.
That's what we put in the memo, correct?
So if we don't take any action,
It's
then
still gonna happen.
They get the property owner gets notified that what they're doing is out of compliance. I would move that we communicate that to the original requester of the memo, or the person who brought it up. Just let them know that if they don't know already, that that's the next step that will happen.
Is there a second?
Second.
So the essence is that, like the previous 5, pardon me?
Send our response to the applicant.
Yeah, to the
Or
person. Yeah. Okay.
Does
Make a response, yeah.
Does it actually say that staff will get in touch?
Yeah,
It says they'll get with the property owner.
So they'll have to try to pursue, I'm not sure they'll pursue a variance or a change in the law or something.
Unless the property owner requests that change.
Oh, it's.
Yeah, the property would have to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And last is just email from Jerry Neal, reducing Ames dependence on waste and incineration.
I would move we forward that memo to staff for their information.
Thank you. We were aware of that. We agree.
Okay. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right. Report of governing body.
Apologies, did we cover the one from Brad Trinkle?
The what? I'm sorry.
Brad Trinkle?
Is that, which one's that?
I think that was one of the
Number 5.
ones from
Yeah.
Damien.
Yeah, Damien.
Yeah, we regrouped 4 through 8 together.
Okay, and I apologize, I didn't understand we were grouping that. Can I just speak to that for a
Certainly,
second?
you may.
This is an interesting one to me. I appreciate Damien's memo and that we have what he called a longstanding practice not to apply spot parking restrictions. But where there are situations where there are access and safety concerns, I wonder if that is a wise approach. And so where someone can't safely access their property, it seems like that should be a factor that we could consider. I have not seen a situation like this before, and I thought was worth looking at. So I would move on this one that we would put this on a separate agenda to look at further.
Okay, so we'd have to have a motion to reconsider, which you could make as you voted affirmative.
Sure.
And then we would undo it, and then Mark, Mark, I don't, doesn't have very often coaching through this. Then they would go ahead and vote on that, and then we can go ahead and.
It's my fault. I didn't realize these were
That's
all
okay.
lumped
That's
together.
all right. That's all right.
Yeah, I think this is like number 5. Is that
It
right?
is.
I think it'd be okay just to have a motion to reconsider number 5.
Okay, thank you.
So, and by doing this, I'm not sure how I would necessarily vote, but I think this is worth considering. I move we could reconsider number 5.
Second.
All right. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Carried. Oh, right. Who?
Nay, me.
All right. Thank you.
And I move we put this on a future agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks. Sorry, we weren't very clear on that. All right, move on to reports of governing body. Discover Ames. Any reports tonight?
We received reports, the normal reports on utilization of our hotels. Not a lot to report. I don't know if Gloria, you had anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, we got some, I feel like I've said this before, but maybe I haven't. We got reports on what kind of legislative action is occurring at the state that could conceivably have impacts for Ames. And one of those things is the school start date, which is buried in an education bill, and the desire to move that start date earlier could lose millions in revenue per day for each day that the school starts earlier. There is also a bill on entertainment districts, which would allow the open container district for festivals, et cetera, which we've already started implementing. Tourism improvement districts within or around the community for hotels to charge an additional fee for improvements or marketing within that district, which could be a means of opening up additional funding in these somewhat straitened funding times, and that would require a vote of the hoteliers. There's a look at tweaking the hotel motel tax description to limit what's defined as tourism expenses. I think we're already within the guidelines for what is being proposed, but who knows how that might change. And there is additional examination of the regional sports authority districts, which will likely appear in the governor's budget, which focuses on sporting events with a 2-to-1 match on RSED grants. And we have been very successful in the past getting those grants. So that's a positive, and that is likely to go into the budget. And I think that is it as far as Discover Ames.
Thank you. A report from Ames Regional Economic Alliance.
No, we have that meeting Friday.
Right. Looking at the link and the project with the hotel and the event center. And an architecture firm has been employed, and there were images. But the thing I wrote down to make sure to say, because we have been talking about historic districts, that the architects said that our historic downtown is an asset, that in many cities that area has already been redone and you can't get it back. And so they are aware and are looking at ways to make those two facilities complementary. That's it. We meet on Friday.
No report from Story County Emergency Management Agency. How about transit?
No meeting this month.
All right, very good. Council comments. Em.
I will see you guys tomorrow for the joint student government city council meeting. I'm looking forward to it. It will be my last one in this role. I'm graduating in May. So kind of bittersweet moment there. That agenda was in your inbox this morning. And then from what I'm hearing, there might be some additional things that might come up in the open discussion section, but I will send an email about that tonight before I go to bed. And yeah, I have the parking passes here with me right now if you want them now or when you get there tomorrow, whatever works.
Okay.
Bike this time, just so if anybody asks me how I got to the meeting. How
did you get to me? That's right.
Tim?
Good night.
Robin?
Two things for me. I want to really thank the people who came out and spoke tonight from the neighborhood near Lincoln Way and South Russell there, Oak to Riverside, I guess that neighborhood is called. So thank you very much for coming, and it's a tragic situation with Margaret. And then the other thing was I did want to address Annabella, sorry. She, during public forum, where's my notes here? Requested that the city submit, what would you call it, formal opposition to House File 2541. Are we able to do that, Mark, as a governed city unit?
You could pass a resolution doing that. I know the, what I just saw on the news, I think it was Urbandale City Council just did something like that.
Okay.
I think it was Urbandale, maybe it was Johnston.
Okay.
So one of the metro.
But it's possible.
Cities, yeah.
I would.
We're not a,
Formally register against
we're not
it
a
once
reg-
you're
We
allowed.
Right, right.
Right, but
You know,
in-
they sent a letter. They sent a letter to their legislators that, you know, their local legislators. And
Okay.
so, but their council voted to do that.
so we're not,
All right.
we're not a registered to be
Right.
lobbied.
So we can't
now.
officially
Right.
register in that way.
Correct.
I would move that we put a discussion about sending such a letter on a future agenda.
Second.
Okay. Let's pay the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Nothing for me.
Rachel? Gloria?
Nothing other than saying thank you to the Oak to Riverside neighbors who expressed concern.
Yep. All right. Mark, does council have a justification for going into closed session?
Yes, Mayor, you do. The council can go into closed session to discuss matters that are in litigation or where litigation is imminent under Iowa Code Section 21.51C. So that authorizes the council to do so.
Thank you. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second? All right. Roll call?
Rollins.
Aye.
Feedy Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
All right. Thank you for coming. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn regular.
Second?
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.